It's another fantastic Friday. God has been gracious to us, hasn't he? If you contemplate what is happening in other parts of the world, Turkey, Syria, and the fact that we've woken up this morning without any impediments, we're healthy, we really ought to be thankful to our Maker. We bless the Lord for a brand new day, and we're here, of course, to serve you, because this is what we do best. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I do this together with Bernice Abubeidulanta. This is the AM Show. Welcome aboard. Now, coming up shortly, we'll be serving you the news, and right after that, Samuel Kojo-Brace, our colleague, will be joining us for a breakfast as we dig into the papers and tell you what stories they're carrying. We've also got Prime Take today. In sports, we're going to be having a conversation with George Efriye. He's a former vice president of the Ghana Football Association. You don't want to miss that one. Right after that, we'll be serving you our latest edition of Blunt Thoughts later on the show. And it's titled, Leading a Miss, Akufo-Addo's Mess and the Price We're Paying for It. Look forward to that as well. But then we get into our big stories, and the first one on the chopping board, flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, Kofi Akpaloo, joins us for breakfast. What are we going to be contemplating? He'll be taking a bite at topical issues in the country. But our main question is Ghana ready for a third force? Beyond the MPP and the NDC, can we look for a third viable front? What do you think? Join us for that conversation. After that, we'll be telling you about the JoyNews Impact Makers Award. Do you know any? Well, this is a social project aimed at recognizing and celebrating ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their communities. Your most credible news source is inviting the public to nominate persons who are doing projects or taking initiatives to improve the lives of people in their communities. We'll bring you details of that later on the show. But also coming up, look forward to it. Adon TV comes your way with yet another exciting edition of Ensroma, Are You That Star? It's the grand finale of the current season, and who wins the coveted prize? We'll be finding out later on the show. But as always, at the tail end, we offer you the opportunity to call and share your thoughts. But even before that, in the course of the entirety of our show, we'll be streaming live. And if you have any thoughts to share with us, do share them via the live stream. The hashtag is AM Show. On that note, Ghana 4, let's settle for the news up next. Welcome to the news. We start from the Upper East, and government has banned the carrying of arms and ammunition in the Bawku enclave. It has also renewed the curfew hours imposed from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. until further notice. Police say in the last 3 days, at least 10 people have been shot and 6 deaths recorded. Upper East Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu, who confirmed to JoyNews, said the development had left the town in a state of emergency.
Currently, what we are doing at Westside is to calm things down and for us to have peace. Yesterday, we hear during the night, they were also fighting also. And some people have passed on. Our understanding is that officially about 2, but people are telling us 4, so we are checking to make sure to know the numbers. But this is what is happening. Bawku is very charged as we speak now. And we have informed our security services to see what they can do to bring calm to the place.
I'm sure you have some initial report as to what could have led to this fresh fighting last night that you're talking about.
Yes. After we had left, one person was killed. And that was on that very Monday. And then the following day, 2 people were also killed. I am sure it's because of this that is led to the killings, and now Bawku is fully charged.
And per the reports that you're getting, we are mentioning 5. How many persons exactly from these fresh killings that we are talking about? How many persons exactly have lost their lives, you'd say?
Well, for now, what I know officially is 2. But as I said, I am hearing 4. But officially, we deal with official numbers. If I say official numbers, what the police know, these are the information that I'm giving you.
It's rather disturbing to hear you say Bawku is currently charged. What exactly then are we doing about the situation to calm tempers?
Well, this morning I had a meeting with the National Peace Council. We are drawing our strategies. When this Bawku is charged like this, then the military and the police will have to take charge. And that is exactly what they are doing right now. And we are also talking to both factions to talk to their youth, opinion leaders, the key members of both the Mampress and the Kusas, calm the situation. And that is what we are doing. So we are engaging all the stakeholders. That's what we are doing as RESEC.
It appears that your meeting with both factions was really an exercise in futility. You agree?
No. I think that it was good that we went. It was good that they listened to us. It was good that we also listened to them. Their concerns were brought, and we are working on them. So I don't think that it was bad that we went there. We went to appraise ourselves and told them what we think. And it has helped. Who knows, if we didn't go, maybe it would have been worse.
Meanwhile, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul says the Ghana Armed Forces has foiled an attempt to blow up a bridge with an improvised explosive device in Bawku.
We do not stop what is happening in Bawku now, and now we risk the situation where Ghana can be thrown under terrorist attacks. For the first time, Mr. Speaker, 3 days ago, improvised explosive device was used for the first time in this country to try to blow a bridge. Don't let us joke with Bawku.
Let's go to the Upper West region now. Vice Chancellor of the Dr. Hilaliman Technical University, Professor Elias Soli, is worried about the reduction in government's allocation of finances to tertiary institutions. He wants these institutions to find alternative ways of raising funds to support their activities. Professor Soli made the statement at the opening of a 4-day capacity building workshop for staff of the Dr. Hilaliman Technical University. Here's a report by correspondent Rafiq Salam.
The 4-day capacity building workshop held for staff of the Dr. Hilaliman Technical University is on quality assurance, grant writing, and fundraising strategies. The aim of the workshop is to build capacities of the staff in the institution to share ideas with them the opportunities available in writing for grants and other academic writings. Vice Chancellor of the Dr. Hilaliman Technical University, Professor Elias Sole, in his welcome address, noted that funds provided by governments the world over for educational institutions are dwindling over the years, and there is therefore the need for the institutions to create avenues to complement the efforts of the government, since it can't shoulder it alone.
What governments are providing for institutions, higher education, is dwindling. It's reducing over the years because there's pressure on the economy, more institutions are introduced, and they are all relying on the same cake. So if we want to grow, we cannot continue to rely solely on government support. Many institutions have developed and excelled based on their own efforts. And I think that one of the the main reason for this workshop is to open our eyes to what resources there are for us to benefit from. Others are flying. People are winning grants in millions of dollars. They are no more intelligent than you are. They're not smarter than you. In fact, some of you are so smart that if you could focus your mind on those things, you'll be swimming in millions.
Professor Sole said he will ensure that staff who wins grants for the institution has their promotion fast-tracked.
So we want to make sure that we can stand on our feet. And to do so, we need to look out there. There are resources. I'm sure Doc will tell you, millions of dollars, euros out there for us to source. But because we are blinded, we don't know that we have such resources, we don't even know how to try. If you are somebody who can win grants and you are doing so much for the institution, why do we allow you to wait to climb? We can push you, and I can do that. You bring in $10 million today, you have a very good innovation that can make all the justification to get you to where you will take several years to get to.
Quality assurance specialist Dr. Bawku, who was the resource person in an interview, noted that technical universities in the country can transform the economy of the country if they are given the needed push. Dr. Liman Technical University is one of the 10 polytechnics turned into technical universities by the government. She said one way that technical universities in the country can develop is for them to collaborate and pool their resources together for a common good.
And I encourage these 10 technical universities to collaborate in some sense that, for example, if they are offering engineering, they can come together to buy some engineering equipment. Some will be situated in that institution, some will also be situated in this institution, but they have the realization of economies of scale, that they've put their monies together. And with that money, they can now afford to buy things which could not be bought by one institution. Do you see? So they should forge some sort of collaborations, meaningful collaborations, where they put some of their differences aside, some of their fears aside, and look at where they can come together.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
In our next story, the lack of a resident ophthalmologist has forced persons with eye defects to seek medical care outside the region. But there's been a source of relief following a free eye screening exercise conducted by Humanity First UK and Ghana, an NGO. Back to Rafik Salam, who reports again.
Humanity First is a multi-sector non-governmental organization that seeks to lessen the burden of the poor in deprived areas. The latest addition to the many services rendered to the people of the Wa municipality and its surrounding communities at the Wa Municipal Hospital is the gift of eyesight.
Gift of Sight is one of the many projects initiated by Humanity First. Under this project, about 300 people are expected to have their eyes screened and also surgery conducted on them. And so this is one of the theaters of the Wa Municipal Hospital where we are currently in, and then that process is currently ongoing.
We are doing cataract surgeries, and we estimate to do 300 within this week. But this particular case is what we call pterygium, where there is a growth from the conjunctiva covering the cornea. So we are just finished with that one, and we'll be moving to another case, which is a cataract case. About 98%, I believe, will be cataract. And then we have pterygium, which might form the 2% of the cases.
Dr. Majid Al-Hassan is a medical director on the program.
So as part of our memorandum of understanding, we have voted to help in skill training and skill transfer. With that, we invite in experts from our partners in the United Kingdom. This time around, we have a specialist ENT, in fact a consultant ENT surgeon. We also have a consultant pediatrician. We also have among our group consultant obstetrician gynecologists. They are to provide neonatal and basic life support, and also training in essential skills in maternal health care. And this is going to go on hand in hand together with the eye surgeries that we are undertaking.
The Upper West region has no resident ophthalmologist. Persons who have problems with their eyes and want to seek urgent medical care has to travel out of the region. Dr. Abubakar Zakaria is the medical superintendent of the Wa Municipal Hospital.
We don't have a resident ophthalmologist, but we have a nice eye nurses, ophthalmic nurses that are helping in screening and treating minor eye problems. But to the surgical side, we need an ophthalmologist to do that. And they have been able to mobilize the specialties, the special people that are supposed to do these eye surgeries.
team leader of Humanity First UK, Dr. Isaac Sirik, stated the reason why the charitable organization decided to add eye screening and surgeries on their list of priorities.
It is an area that they concentrate on simply because they know the burden of this particular disease, essentially cataracts, is so prevalent in this country and also in other parts of West Africa. And so that is why we thought on this visit we would add that element of work to our practice, because we were certain that this would help the local population. And we've worked together with one of the very experienced local eye surgeons to deliver this program under the banner of Humanity First UK.
Consultant pediatrician Dr. Ijaz Ahmed, who is part of the fundraising team for Humanity First UK, expressed joy over the progress of work so far.
One of the fundraiser in UK, I do go for charity work, raise funds. So I have been witness of the funds which I raised it is being used here in this country. I have been in Benin, where I have seen this project being used as well over there. So I can go back, tell them that the money which you are giving, donating for this gift of size scheme is being used, and I'm a witness of that.
The team later called on the Upper Australian Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Salih, at his office. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam.
Moving on now, the European Union is partnering the government of Ghana to support the livelihoods of fisherfolk in the country. Ghana's fisheries resources have been on a decline as a result of several factors, including illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing practices. The program, launched about 4 years ago and being implemented by the Sirath Development Organization, will identify ways of improving the fisheries sector. There's more in this report.
Project is one of 4 projects that is being launched under the CSO RISE program, a civil society organization in research and sustainable development program. The fisheries sector has been bedeviled with several challenges that have impacted the livelihoods of the people that depend directly on the sector. Under the project, the Syria Development Organization is partnering the Center for Coastal Management at the University of Cape Coast to support the thesis of 5 master's students to research in Ghana's fisheries sector. Program Manager and European Union Delegation to Ghana in charge of fisheries, forestry, natural resources and environment, Christopher Akwan, throws more light on the project.
I'm sure all of us are quite aware of what's happening within the fisheries sector. We need not remind ourselves. We see the extent of degradation that has happened in our oceans. How now we can't even get fresh fish to eat. We just have to take our frozen ones and ones being imported. I'm sure we go on the market and all what we see, they said burger and what's the other one, the Ghanaian one, huh? Yes, so this tells us what's happening in our oceans. But our ancestors did their best through things like taboo days, beliefs, the role of chief fishermen and all of that to try to manage our resources. But all of these things have been put aside, and we are using our own wisdom, which oftentimes are not the best.
Director for the Syria Development Organization, responsible for West Africa, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Senegal, Bawku is upbeat that the project will contribute to reviving the hopes and aspirations of the people that depend on the fisheries sector.
Basically, as an organization, we consider research to be a very critical part of our operations, and that is why we have supported students to undertake research into Ghana's fisheries sector. It's very important, and we all know very well that the artisanal sector of Ghana is having some significant challenges, and it plays a lot of vulnerability risks to people who are living within coastal communities. Again, there's also issues about policy, there's also issues about programming and development and so on and so forth. We partnered with the University of Cape Coast, that's the Coastal Center for Coastal Management, in order to make sure that we have research that is actually telling us what exactly is happening on the ground, how that can inform government, policy actors, and all the various stakeholders in the sector, and ultimately help to transform the livelihoods of people who are in our coastal communities. Again, we also need to transform the sector. We need to look at things beyond just a 1-month close season. Can we do things that would help us to build our stocks more aggressively? The aquaculture sector is something that we also need to look at, developing the aquaculture sector. Another thing is that what are the things we can do beyond fisheries that can make people who are so dependent on the sector to actually be out of it so that we have fewer people in there. There are more and more opportunities, and we just looked at the presentation that showed the high vulnerabilities that are seen in this fishery sector. So these are the things that I think we should do, but there are more. There are more that can be done, and as every now and then, as organizations and as stakeholders, we need to sit down and assess what we have done and see whether they are working and propose new ones that we will be committed to.
Some of the students on the project shared their findings with Joy News.
I went further to look at the behavioral factors that influence someone's intention to use or not to use this hunter wheel. And I got to realize that indeed there are several behavioral factors that you can think of. We can look at the performance expectancy, we can look at the effort expectancy, we can look at whether there's facilitating support that will enhance these fisher folks to use this technology. We also look at whether there's motivation to use this, whether the fisher folks or the fish processor, they find it very interesting and pleasant when they are using a hunter to smoke fish. And we also look at the price or the cost value of adopting a hunter, and all this.
Well, back here in Accra, traders at Domekwa and Taifa markets won the chief executive of Ghana East Municipal Assembly, Kaki Man, dismissed. They accused the MCE of sidelining them and prioritizing personal interest over the development of the markets, which rake in a lot of revenue for the assembly.
Voices of angry traders who are not pleased with the management style of the municipal chief executive. Vicentia Lamptey is a level 300 student and helps the mother sell in the market. She is of the opinion the MCE does not have respect for the traders and thus does not work in their interest.
We have met here this morning to register our displeasure and grievance about the maltreatment, oppression, and disrespectful treatment meted on us by the Ghana East MCE, Honorable Kaki Man. Instead of the concentration of bringing progress and improvement to the welfare of the traders, she has rather taken interest in creating division among the traders. She is not a unifier. She came to disturb the peace of the market. Kaki, as MC, is a square peg in a round hole. She does not know her job. She must go as soon as possible. She is arrogant, disobedient, and boastful.
What they refer to as maltreatment by the MCE.
The MC is really disturbing us. Today they'll come and tell you to move. Tomorrow they'll come and say this person is a queen. They've overthrown the other queen. We don't understand what she's doing. And I don't think that is the work of the MC. She has her own duties and the queen mothers here have their own duties. We plead on the government to dismiss her because she's not complying with the rules. She doesn't want to be in her lane. She's conflicting her duties and making things difficult for those of us who are selling here.
Without any reason, we were sitting there. She was a diabetic patient about to eat. All of a sudden, Kaki bowed inside the office without greeting, without saying anything. She's the one handcuffed her without any reason. We don't know what this woman has done. Kaki handcuffed an old 60-year-old woman and punched the face. I'm an eyewitness. I witnessed it myself. When we went to the police station, Kaki is denying, but Kaki has handcuffed a 60-year-old woman in this market without any offense committed.
The traders want Kaki Man dismissed as MCE for Ghana East Municipal Assembly.
Well, thank you for staying with us. We'll be returning shortly with the news review. Do stay. Thank you for joining us for the news review on the AM show. And the news review is brought to you courtesy Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And we're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening. The location where you can find us, Accra Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronum Abuehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex in Takrady and Naji Estate. In Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiama Nzima. You can reach us on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But it's only the beginning of the news review, and we started in grand style. I'll be joined shortly by my colleague, Samuel Kojo Brace. Samuel, I hear you're ready. A very good morning to you, bro.
Good morning. I've been ready for some 10 minutes now.
Oh, I see. Always, I mean, as always, right? Always ready, always ready. Were you a Boy Scout growing up?
No, Charlie. Where I grew up, nothing like Boy Scout or whatever. You just get up, go to farm, and
Oh, no, Bugao. Okay. But that's an interesting point to make. Let me just find out from you. I've been reflecting on the happenings in Turkey and Syria following all the damage that has been done. I was listening to the story of one person, a woman who plays for the female team of Haitaspor, the same team that Christian Achu plays for. And she was fortunate, made it out. They actually went back into their building very quickly to grab a few clothes, just about something to put on, a phone here, just a few things, and they dashed out. It's left disaster, absolutely terrifying disaster in its wake. We've still not found Christian Achu, and it's just so sad as of now. Quick reflections on that, and when you're done, maybe you can share with me what you think is your biggest story this week before we get into the papers.
Well, Ben, it's not been an easy week for Ghana. And I guess it's not been an easy week at all for Achu's family, especially for the wife and the kid. Yes, it's a week of torture, really, because for you to wake up from a jubilant mood, because Achu played on Sunday.
Yeah, scored a goal.
For the team in a very sweet style. I mean, this was a free kick that he used to equalize for the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was happy, and I'm sure he was on phone with the family, sharing in the mood. We all go to bed, wake up on Monday, and we hear, boom, there's an earthquake in Turkey, and it has affected where Achu lives, and he cannot be found. Jesus. I mean, I'm wondering how the family will take the shock that this is our son, this is our father, this is our husband, this is our brother. We were just...
This is, for in likely many instances, this is our breadwinner.
Exactly. Charlie, it may be the case that he is a breadwinner for
a number of people. Right.
A large, and not just the family. He does some good philanthropic work.
Yeah.
All the people who depend on his benevolence, they've been affected. And Charlie, that you are with a person in a minute. The next minute, you can't tell whether he is alive or not. If he's alive, how is he doing?
Yeah.
Even if not, what is happening to him? Look, the torture is just unbearable. Look at us. All of us in Ghana, we've been talking about him. You go to social media, a lot of people are sharing so many messages about him.
Yeah.
So at us who are not even very close to him, we've only experienced him because of him playing for the national team. and him being a Ghanaian playing outside there, that's how we've experienced him. How much more the people who have experienced him, like, body to body.
Yeah.
Here you are, here I am. How are they feeling? So, in fact, I don't know what we will do if by the grace of God he is found alive still.
I think it's going to be real jubilation, not just here in Ghana. There are others, his own teammates and all of that. But I'll tell you what, I have remained very optimistic, regardless of the practical call to pessimism. You know why? It had been 2 days already when we hadn't found Achu, and then we were told we had found him. So, I mean, then hope was there, 2 days. But then when we were told, by the time we were told he hadn't been found, it had now been 4 days. And you'd be asking yourself about the surrounding circumstances. If he's buried somewhere under rubble, no food, no means of sustenance, no water, is he injured? My prayer has been, Samuel, that maybe he's been found, but they just don't know this is Christian. Or maybe sometimes, who knows, he could have suffered something, maybe amnesia or something, because it's a chaotic mess across where this, about 400 kilometers. That's what it means, about 400 kilometers of a stretch affected. So I'm praying that maybe he got out, people just don't know this is Christian Achu, and maybe he's in some hospital facility. The hospitals have been swamped with people, so they can't even, I'm just hoping that he's somewhere and we just don't know, and that over time it will be confirmed that, oh, he was actually in this facility. Because where it's got to now.
With his popularity and how the international media is covering him, I'm sure by now, all the hospitals area should probably have a hint of who Christian Achu is. And if it was anywhere, I'm sure they would have said that, no, we have this face in our facility. Look, since the issue broke, it looks like he's become one of the major faces of this disaster.
True.
CNN is covering him. BBC
the BBC,
is covering him.
Yeah,
everybody.
Newspapers, prominent newspapers across the world.
I don't know who in Europe now, especially who in Turkey, would not know, this face is probably the person they are looking for.
Yeah,
so,
but we cannot fail to hope against hope. We cannot write off. I mean, miracles happen, and we're praying for one right now.
There's something called miracle. Even if he's not been found and he's still down there, and we think that how the situation is, there might not be any means of, air getting to him. We serve a God who is able to do the unimaginable.
Yeah.
So we can't lose it. We can't lose the fact that God can really cause something to happen. You remember the case of is it the Peru miners or so?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, underneath for how many miles? So many miles underground. And they were trapped for like weeks. No food, right? I may be wrong, maybe days. No food, no water. But they survived. So, I mean, some of us cannot lose hope and cannot forget that the God we serve has done the unimaginable for us and that he can do it for our children. So we're all hoping that we'll be able to get to him alive, and it will be one of the miracles of this century. That, he's been under the rubble for how many days? Today is like 5 days, isn't it? This Friday.
5 or 6, thereabouts. Yeah.
It'll be huge.
Maybe we'll just end this bit. As we spoke, as you mentioned, the God factor. And it is not to say that God sometimes does not oversee disasters happening to good people, because that also happens. The Bible speaks about it. When good people die, sometimes people think they've been cut off like stubble, but they will shine again. It just reminded me of Ephesians 3:20, based on which that song was sang. I've just forgotten his name. But the quote is, "Now all glory to God, who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think." In this instance, we are praying for infinitely more than human understanding can imagine. We're just praying. We're just praying for that. Yeah.
Or defy science, something that you cannot really explain how it happened. Like that that little baby who was pulled out of the rubble, the mother had given birth to her, and
the placenta was still attached or something.
You can't explain how this happened.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things we are hoping for, that in fact God will do one of His miracles and get us, because so many lives depend on Him, and without Him, a lot of families will be hugely, they will suffer to even put food on the table. So
let's pray. But you know something, I was going to move on to the papers. In just about, I'm not going to take a response on this, but it just hit me. I'm looking at Turkey in Europe. Maybe not one of the most advanced countries in Europe, but pretty good in terms of their GDP, somewhere in there, and pretty prominent in terms of the location of that country. They had a similar incident in 1999, an earthquake that took about 20,000 lives then. In this instance, here we are again with another one. Syria, we all know what is happening there, Aleppo and others, and Turkey, both of them affected. Close to 20,000 lives lost already, 17,000 upwards. And I ask myself though, over the years, we've been feeling some earth tremors here in our country. When you go to the McCarthy Hill, the Waja area, these places are known to lie on fault lines. And I just pray, of course, that nothing of that sort ever happens. But knowing what we do about those areas, what are we doing? The places springing up there, the quality of buildings, are we even ensuring that if someone is putting up a building there, it is earthquake proof, because there are ways of building in such areas? Or are we just waiting, arms folded, till someday? Because if you keep feeling the shocks, the tremors, time and again, just a little, it is warning that someday, and we've had earthquakes in this country before. So I'm just asking myself, what are we doing in that respect? In Turkey, one interesting point that I heard on the BBC, some of them said that, interestingly, in some places, buildings that were built with old school materials, like buildings that had been there for a long time, stood. But buildings that have been constructed with so-called new technology and all of that rather crashed, crumbled. I'm just thinking around those areas and wondering, are we waiting for disaster to happen, especially with what we know? Anyway.
We're waiting, Ben. As for this, we're doing. We're not doing anything. We're not planning anything. When it happens, you remember in December when that tremor happened? I was in the TUC building, and I felt it. And there, I started catching my stars. What am I doing here? At the time that the building was going to collapse, and I'm here. So look, in fact, we're just not doing anything. We're only building. And I'm not sure the building inspectors in that assembly are even checking whether they are building, spacing it, or even not building close to a road. They are not doing anything. We're only building. And that's our problem in this nation. When it happens, we'll only complain, and that's it. So, look, the reality is that I'm not sure Ghana is doing anything. What I read is that Japan or so, they've now...
Japan has suffered so many earthquakes. In fact, many of their buildings are earthquake proof. They build in a certain way because they know their terrain is practically sitting on a time bomb.
Yeah, but for us, we've not done anything. We're just waiting. So let's pray that it doesn't happen. If it happens, it will be a huge disaster.
And even worse, we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the human resource. Look at even small issues that crop up and how NADMO, for example, reacts. And if something, God forbid, let's get into the papers.
But you were asking of my biggest story. I think my biggest story has to do with the...
So in about a minute and a half, and then we move on.
I mean, you remember that interaction between the pensioner, that lady, and the finance minister?
Right.
Jesus. Anytime we play it, like, wow, where did this woman come from? She spoke to the heart of the minister. Anything me who is just not part of this government. I was like, what? If I were the president or the minister, after hearing this woman, I may probably have to say that, look, we're taking them out. The woman really spoke from the bottom of her heart. We don't want to be a burden on you. We don't want to be a burden on our children. We want to be a burden on ourselves. Jesus. What?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you've made a very important point, and sometimes you would ask yourself whether some of our leaders, well, sometimes tough decisions must be made, but is it also that sometimes we have hearts of stone that do not feel for the ordinary man? A question maybe for the gods to answer. The Daily Graphic this morning, Bolgatanga Central, home of handicraft, seek investors. 200 CEOs, board chairs brainstorm on economy and debt exchange program. Government bonds down to 3 categories. Age groups considered. On the back page, 6 Busumtri district communities to have new classroom blocks. And that is a good thing, especially on the back of some of the ails in the educational system that we've been highlighting with our Ghana schools of shame. And McCarthy Hill Assembly member raises concerns over blocked drains. Let's quickly get to it. So 200 CEOs, board chairs brainstorm on economy, and there have been allegations about this entire confab. But let's get into the details of the story. Chief executive officers and board chairs of specified entities, including state-owned enterprises, have gathered at Kwewu, Abetifi in the eastern region, to deliberate on how they can support the government's efforts to jumpstart the economy. The stakeholder meeting, organized by the State Interest and Governance Authority, that is SIGA, has brought together over 200 CEOs and board chairs. The Minister of Finance, Kenneth Oyata, in a speech read on his behalf by a Deputy Minister of Finance, Abno Osei-Asari, bemoaned the low level of dividends from SOEs over the last years. He said, dividend receipts from SOEs had not only been historically very low in comparison to joint ventures and mining companies. Even more worrying was the fact that the number of SOEs paying dividends and the quantum they had paid had declined sharply in recent years. And there was also talk, quoting the Director General of SIGA, he says, "We all sometimes talk as if the problem is somebody's problem and not ours. But it is our problem because if the government goes out of power, most of us, if not all, will not retain our positions." And that is a point that I found rather interesting. But let me just take this one before you come in with a response. Debt exchange program, government bonds down to 3 categories, age groups considered. That is actually the banner headline. Now, the deadline for the voluntary tendering of existing domestic bonds for new ones under the domestic debt exchange program elapsed last Tuesday, with the government settling on 3 broad categories of instruments for the new instruments. They are Category A, designed for persons below 59 years, Category B, for bondholders 59 years and above, and Category C, which captures all other bondholders, including corporate institutions such as banks, insurance companies, and fund managers. The first 2 types of bonds have their maturity periods, that is the tenor reduced from 15 to 5 years, with a coupon, that is interest pegged at 15 and 10% respectively. It goes on to talk about the different types. So type 1, a source familiar with the process at the Ministry of Finance explained to the Daily Graphic that the first category, designed for persons below 59 years, consisted of 2 bonds maturing in 2027 and 2028 with a tenor of 15 years. The second, designed for bondholders aged 59 years and above, matures in 2027 and 2028. And the bond maturing this year will be given 7 bonds instead of 12, maturing each year from 2027 until 2033. That's another 10 years to look forward to. But that one is for type 3, actually, the third category of bondholders, which will earn an average of 9% coupons until maturity in 2027. Quick reflections on these 2 stories, Sam?
Well, we've gotten to a point where the state needs this particular, agreement from bondholders to in order to secure that particular IMF deal. But I think that, and we should know that today is the deadline for the extension. I mean, so the people who hold these bonds have till today to either decide to be part of it or not. But it's a critical point. These people explain that they bought these bonds so that they can, especially the retirees, so they can take care of themselves during retirement. But this is also when government needs to cut down on, to reduce its debt burden in order to secure this IMF deal. It's such a, a dicey situation. On one hand, government needs the IMF deal because they say without it, the economy will crash. On the other, the bondholders also have goals for which they bought their bonds, and so it's become difficult for them to say that we are letting go when, in fact, there was a reason why they bought their bonds. They've been also looking for, some sort of effort by the government. You know that people have been calling on government to try to do something. People have specifically said, cut down on the size of government. I mean, I wonder why government has not seized the opportunity to show leadership in this instance. If I were probably the president, I've not been president before, so I don't know how it is, but from my point of view, if I was, I would have probably announced a reshuffle for reducing the government by at least half to show the commitment, because you need people to let go of their investment, right? You should also show something that, okay, I'm not just asking you to contribute something. I'm also coming to the table with it. We should also know that, emphasize that government has also, I'm told, have tried to give us that. Now, the minister, you don't drive your V8 within Accra. You only drive it when you're going outside. Just, I'm told that this week, when the vice president was going somewhere with some ministers, they took a bus. When the SOEs, the chief executives, were also going for this conference, they took a bus together.
I think it was the vice president's travel to the Savannah region, and the other one, what I spoke about, to the eastern region, Kwewu.
Yeah. On both occasions, they use buses. It's good that we've seen that we are not in normal time, so we are trying to cut down on fuel expenditure, for example. It's good, but could the government or the president have gone ahead to say, I am announcing a major decision, which is to cut down on this size of government, so that the bondholders will see that, well, we're in difficult times. The government or the president has acknowledged that, and so he has reduced the size of his government. So can we also then consider, because if the economy becomes better for us, we will all benefit from it. But once they are not seeing that leadership from government, it becomes difficult for them. So a lot of them, when you listen to them, they are of the view that, look, you want us to come to the table with something. We have not seen anything from your end. So I don't know. Once today is the deadline, and some people holding on to their belief that we don't want to sign on to it, I wonder what this will happen. Within the week when the finance ministry was giving an update on the percentage of acceptance, they said they were above 50%, isn't it? They are looking for 80% or so.
So it was, I think it was Abna, the deputy, who mentioned that they had about 50%. So we'll see. Eventually, I'm sure when the finance minister comes before the Speaker of Parliament and the House, we'll get some more detail on the scope, how much they've actually accrued, and what the fine detail is of this exchange program.
Anyway, I hope so. But once today is the deadline, I wonder the number of bondholders. I know some who have gone to sign on to the new deal. They feel that it is better than the previous one, so they've gone on to sign on to it. But how many of the bondholders have done so? How many will do so today, which is the deadline for the extension? So let's see how it goes. I pray that we get a lot of them to sign on to it, but government could probably have shown more leadership. I mean, it's good that they've started to pack the V8. Yesterday, I had one retiree who said that, you see this some ministers who are doing something at a certain place, and their car engine will be on throughout until they come. But he was worried by that. So you see, a bondholder like that is looking at that particular practice to say that you are enjoying, and you want me to stop and give away my enjoyment to sign on to this deal. So the bondholders are looking out for some of these things. And that's why I say if the president had announced a major reshuffle, to cut down the size of this government, maybe by half, it would have done a lot of good to this DDE program that we're looking for. So then I hope that we're able to get majority of them to sign on, since today is the last day, because look, like without it and without the deal from the IMF, this economy will crash. We don't want it to. So I pray that they hear, but for these bond and buy into this deal and come on board.
In the next 6 minutes or so, let's try to capture as much as we can. Botswana warns of dangers in rush for Africa's minerals, and African governments must be wary of the risks created by rising global competition for the continent's minerals. Botswana's mines minister said, as world powers seek new sources of metals needed for the transition to a lower carbon economy. Quoting him, he says, when there is a rush, people come in, take whatever they want to take and go, leaving gaping holes in Africa. And haven't we seen that here in Ghana as well? Lefoko Mwage, whose remit also includes energy and green technology, said this in an interview with Reuters. There's also Malawi cholera death toll crosses 1,300, and Tigray abuse allegations mere fantasy. That's according to Afwerki. This is not captured in the Daily Graphic, but there's also talk of the Malema front, in what do you call it, South Africa, and how I was listening to the BBC this morning, how they sort of hijacked Parliament when Cyril Ramaphosa was delivering his address to the nation. Interesting dynamics in there. But let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper now. Fire guts police armory. And that story on page 3. GES releases 2023 academic year calendar for public schools. And picture there, Dr. Eric Nkansa. There's $6.3 million project on safe mining launched, and hope for Achu's rescue fading out. That story on page 23. Judge expresses disquiet over criticisms of delay in Cocobot financial loss case. Let's go to page 3 and start from there. So a building suspected to be an armory of the Ghana Police Service headquarters in Accra was yesterday gutted by fire leading to explosions. No casualty was recorded. When the Ghanaian Times reporter got to the scene at about 9:45 p.m., I beg your pardon, 9:45 a.m., personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service were doing all they could to contain the fire. Traders selling around the area and police personnel were seen running to safety as explosions were heard and the smell of tear gas filled the air. Police personnel and the three-story National Operations Department of the GPS evacuated the building, bringing work to a halt, and auxiliary staff were sighted mopping water from the corridor after the fire was extinguished. There's also judge expresses disquiet over criticisms of delay in Cocobot financial loss case, and Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Clemens Jackson Honyanuga, yesterday expressed disquiet over criticisms of the delay in the trial of Dr. Stephen Kwabnopuni and Seydou Agongo. The Attorney General was reported to have stated in an interview that the trial of the duo had dragged on for 6 years, but the judge, who was sitting with additional responsibility, said the case started in May 2018 and could not be said to have delayed for 6 years. Whatever it is, whether from 2018 till now, it's still nearing 5 years, and that is still a very long time. Let me just do this other story, and then we can share our thoughts, Kojo. So $6.3 million project on safe mining launched, and the government, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme and United Nations Industrial Organization, yesterday launched in Accra a $6.3 million project to minimize the use of mercury in mining. The, quote, Planet Gold project is meant to make small-scale gold mining safer, cleaner, and more profitable in the country. You know how unsafe the methods are, Kojo, that are employed by some of our youth, and in fact, they are daily killing themselves by exposing themselves to these chemicals. Your quick thoughts?
Well, it is good. We've known this for quite a long time, that mercury is not good. Where government has done recently, they brought in some mercury-free gold catchers. It's good we implement these things, but sometimes the implementation suffers. You know, Ghana is a country where we have beautiful policies, but when it comes to implementation, we lack it. So it's good that we are launching this policy, but I would want to see how we want to implement it, how effective the will go to ensure that we achieve goals. Because if we just do it like we do always, we won't get anywhere. You remember the disaster that happened in Apiate? There was this whole hula baloo about explosive now to be accompanied by safety personnel and fire service people, so that in case of anything, they could take charge. How are we monitoring how effective that implementation is going? Are we sure it's being done? So, the launch of the policy or initiative, whatever, is okay for me, but I'm more interested in how we will implement it. Sometimes, and most of the time, our challenge has to do with effective implementation of the policy that we launch in this country. So it's good we brought this one up, but let us go beyond it and look at how effective the implementation will go. When it comes to people warning Africa about our mineral resources and all of that, how long have we spoken about this, Ben? We've been in this country, we've been on this continent, we've spoken about how our minerals are being exploited, but what have we done? We've not even created local giants to take advantage of some of our natural resources. We haven't. Right. So really, it's about time we move from just questioning ourselves to being pragmatic about how we want to ensure that our mineral resources are not exploited by foreigners without our inclusion. We should be able to come to the table with some people. Let us be strategic about creating local giant to take, because I'm not sure if a local person is exploiting it, it will be done the way a non-local person will be doing. So let's just move from talking to doing, I think. Man.
Right. Let's take a quick look at some stories from these two papers, and it's a wrap. The Daily Guide, Parliament ratifies Niamey Convention, and you can't do me Foko, Okujeto tells judges. Well, the way it's captured, but that's the headline. NDC goons storm court as warmonger remanded. I have no chair in Parliament. That's according to former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. There was quite an interesting twist in Parliament. And AG bemoans Auditor General's premature publication. So we'll look at the story about the Niamey Convention. And Parliament passed a new convention that offers significant chances to boost security and combat terrorism by establishing cross-border cooperation with neighboring countries and strengthening Ghana's integrated border management systems. The African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation, which is also known as the Niamey Convention, was ratified by Parliament yesterday in accordance with Article 75 of the Constitution, and it is intended to improve Ghana's image as a country which is committed to the African Union and ECOWAS. There's also the bit about the AG bemoaning the Auditor General's premature publication has been brought up. But yesterday, for example, when I discussed it with Bobby Banson, he read what the law states about the work of the Auditor General and how there should be no one influencing that work and how it is carried out. It's not to say he is above the law, but there are stipulations per the law, and it would appear, if you read that extract, that maybe, just maybe, the Attorney General himself might be falling foul of the law. There's also, let's do that story on page 3. Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has slammed the judiciary for granting an injunction filed by Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng to stop him from making further publications on him and citing him for contempt. According to him, quote, I am ever ready to be a political prisoner of conscience than to be coerced and compromised into a behind-the-scenes deal with the corrosive enemies of the Republic. That was his response. Finally, the Finder newspaper. So 2 stories for you to contemplate in the Daily Guide. The Finder newspaper, page 11. That's where I'll knock off so you can share your thoughts, and we wrap. So, claims overdraft to government was exposed by IMF false. That's according to the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana has been clarifying. It has rejected accusations that the true extent of government's overdraft was exposed by the IMF. A statement issued by the central bank explained that though the IMF team, which this word, I don't know what they are trying to say. The economy noted that this outcome is suboptimal. It was agreed that this temporal arrangement was needed as part of a comprehensive solution to be addressed in the government's economic policies and programs to be supported by the IMF. That's how we wrap it. Your quick thoughts on these three stories, whichever ones you want to reflect on.
I wonder why the AG will write to, and the Attorney General writes to the Auditor General about what he's doing in terms of that one. I mean, it was not just in his place to be writing to the Auditor General when it had published, a report about how we expended.
He says it should have gone through proper processes in Parliament before being put out there. I found that interesting.
What is proper processes here? Are we interested in proper processes, or we are interested in how the monies were expended? So it should spare us. I wonder why he even did that, really. It brings about whether we want to cajole the Auditor General not to really do a good job or whatever. But I think it was inappropriate that he did that. But I'm happy that a lot of people are saying that, well, you don't have what it takes to even order him to do it on how he can do his work. So the Attorney General should know his boundary. Allow the guy to work. He's independent. Let he can't get to the bottom of everything. But Ben, before I knock off, yeah.
So very quickly on that, we have to go very quickly.
Something happening in Ahanta, and I hope that the government will try and deal with it. The Ahanta Paramount seat is vacant now, and I'm told that they have appointed La Bianca as the acting paramount, the regent. It is generating a lot of issues.
When you say La Bianca, what do you mean? You mean the business person La Bianca who owns La Bianca?
The CEO, the owner.
Right.
And it is generating a lot of hula baloo in Ahanta. She was recently installed as chief of Princess Town. But, it's just about 3 months ago. So if the paramount chief is not around, and she has been, a lot of people are talking about it, and I'm sure it would degenerate into something else if nothing is done. So the state should take an interest in this and look at how things will be solved amicably. At the end of the day, it's just for a hunter to progress. So all the stakeholders involved should ensure that this matter is solved amicably and it doesn't degenerate into something else.
Kojo, thank you so much for adding your refreshing opinions to the news review this morning. We're grateful and we wish you the best of the day.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
And that is my colleague and assisting editor here, Samuel Kojo Brace. The news review on the AM show is brought to you courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. We're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening. Locate us in Accra Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, in Kumasi, Kronoma Buehia behind the Angel Educational Complex, in Takrade Anaji Estates, in Tema Community 22, in Techiman Hansua, and in Esiama in Idzema. Call us on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And as I end and we gear up for sports, I just want to wish a very happy birthday to Dr. Elijah Kor of the Nyaho Hospital. One fantastic person. I only got to meet him recently, but an amazing person all the same. Doc, a very happy birthday to you. I wish you the very best of the day. In fact, I'll end up seeing you today, so look forward to that. On that note, let's settle for sports.
Good to see you.
Oh, not long time no see.
Great. It's always good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you look well.
Well, we keep in shape in this world. If you want to grow old, you can grow old. if you still want to look young, you can look young. You just have to exercise, control your diet, and then
bit of football as well?
Yes, one of those old player stuff, the Sunday stuff. Yeah, once a while, why not?
You know, we've been through a whole, a whole period of stories and happenings in our football. We attended the FIFA World Cup. We saw what happened. Immediately after that, we went to the CHAN, and we also saw what happened.
If you lay a good foundation, yes, of course, then you can anticipate and expect that in competitions like the CHAN, first of all, you first have to look at our local league, look at our juvenile setup, the juvenile national teams, which are supposed to be the base where the players will be promoted into various national teams, especially the senior ones, CHAN, be it CHAN or the Black Stars. For me, looking at what is going on, it's very difficult, very, very difficult to be too hopeful that going into a competition like the CHAN or the World Cup, we're going to do very well. I think that when we took over from Normalization Committee, the job was cut for the new administration to lay a solid foundation and expect growth or expect some successes to come at the end of some competitions. But for me, that has not been the case. That has not been the case. That is why I think that we have not laid a solid foundation to merit our hope for successes in various competitions. For me, we've not done that.
I've seen some journals and all, do ratings of different sorts, especially ratings of the quality of the leagues that are played in Africa. At the last count, we did not see Ghana in the top 10. And I guess that is something that goes along with what you're saying. But
not necessarily.
For your own, yes, so I'm coming to that. For your own rating of our league, holistically, I mean, where would you place our league? Because, I mean, we're talking about value, we're talking about quality, and we're talking about the levels of entertainment and all of that.
You see, I want to link my answer still to the CHAN.
Okay.
Okay, the current champions of CHAN, the eventual winners, Senegal, how would you rate their league? I don't think the Senegalese league is even better than the Ghanaian league, for me, if you ask me. But I'm still saying that if you lay a solid foundation, and I'm talking of development of players, development of football, if you lay a solid foundation and you comb around Ghana, be it Division 2, be it Division 1, Premier, you should get quality players to represent Ghana, irrespective of the position of our league in terms of ranking. Because with Senegal as eventual winners, they have rubbished that analogy. Because you and I will agree that when it comes to African football, I mean club competitions, I'm talking of CAF inter-club competitions, the Super Cup, the Champions League, the CAF FA Cup, no, what do you call it? The CAF...
the Super Champions? Or
no,
the
not the
Confederation?
We have the Club Champions League and the other one.
The Confederation Cup.
The Confederation Cup. CAF Confederation Cup and CAF Champions League. If you look at the clubs that have dominated over the years, it's the North Africans. Once a while, a certain TP Mazembe comes through. You understand what I'm saying? So if you are using that as a measure, then going to CHAN, we shouldn't expect too much. We should expect those North Africans to do well at the CHAN. Yes, the eventual host came second, or they were the finals, the runners-up to Senegal. So for Senegal winning the competition, they've rubbished that. So it means that, yes, even in the past, when Ghana was not doing that well, we've been to 2 finals. So I don't really want to use that.
So if I get you clearly, it's more of a tournament mentality and something extra which we are not able to develop in our players here on the local scene. Is that it?
You see, you are going into a tournament. Let me use the last under-17, for example. The under-17 is the first point of our youth development, not coast in terms of the national team ranking. I'm not using youth development as coast under 12, under 15, and not that one. I'm talking of in terms of the national team. It was supposed to be even under 15, but the under 15 is in non-existence. It's just by name. Because the last time I checked, I don't remember the under 15s taking part in any competitions. But then with the under 17, be the first point of proper development from the youth. In the past 3 years or 4 years, we've had 4 different coaches. How is that development? In the past 4 years. So it means that you have not have a plan, a program that you are going to execute to make sure that this program reflects at the top. You need to groom from 17 to 20 to 23, some branches to the local Black Stars or the Galaxies as we call it now. Because remember, whilst we are playing the juvenile competitions in international competitions, most players will get the chance to travel abroad. The rest will remain in the league. And a typical example is the last under 20, the last under 20, the last under 17. A lot of them are still in our league. You understand what I'm saying? So if you have a proper development, most of these players should be able to transit to the Galaxies, as we call them now. Check the last time we hosted Wafu, this is the Wafu Zombie
very well
Cup of Nations in
yes.
Cape Coast,
sure.
where Ghana was the eventual winners.
Sure.
We have some players who are still in the system, who are also doing very well. I remember when the first call-up was made, I saw the name of, not former Midiama player, Vincent Atinga. Yes, that's the name. He was part of the Galaxies. I saw Mohamed Alassa, initial stages when the call-ups were made. He was part of the Galaxies. I saw Kaliba Manko.
Very well.
They were all part of. What are those players? You see, we don't follow consistency. In football development, sometimes consistency plays a role. Some of the players that you used to qualify the team to Algeria were dropped. So we are not consistent. We don't have a solid program where we make sure that we follow it through. That is the problem. It is not about ranking. Ranking can be done because we've seen countries rank outside the world top 20 coming into major competitions and excelling. We've seen it all the time. We see it always. So it's not necessarily about the ranking. Yes, when you want to put those rankings in terms of the league, you need to put all the factors on the table. Let's go to the North Africans. Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria. Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria. Let me use Morocco. These 4 countries. What have they done in terms of their football development? What have they done? Can we compare? Can we say same to us? We've all traveled. We've all been to these venues. In terms of even infrastructure, in terms of football, quality football pitches for major tournaments. Ghana, yes. Under President Kufuor, we had 4 beautiful stadiums, well built for major competition. The Aliu Mahama Stadium, the Sipong, the Kumasi and Accra. What are the states now? Can we say same? Fortunately, we had one from late Professor Mills from Cape Coast Sports Stadium, so making it fine. What is the state of our venues currently? Now, let's pick the clubs involved. If you've been to Egypt, Ali is like a whole new, Ali as a club, I don't know how to compare. You can compare Ali to the Real Madrid or the Barcelonas or the Man U's and all that. It's a whole cult organization. People worship Ali, same as Zamalek. You go to Morocco, same. You go to Algeria, same. You go to Tunisia, the Esperance and all that, Club Africains and all that. Can we say same? Yes. Here in Ghana, we can talk of the Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra so forth. And let me comment, at this point, let me comment Toby Afede for the role he's playing or what he's doing for Accra so forth. You see, yes, it is true we want to win trophies. But what Toby is doing is setting up the standard first, getting the base, as I'm saying, getting the base, is putting the base down so a solid foundation can be laid on the base. If players can get a very good accommodation to sleep, if right from my clubhouse, I can walk to the gym, right from the gym, there's a football field. And these are the things you need to put in place for a solid takeoff. And so for me, I think that Togo is doing well. The young man in Kumasi is also doing, and when he came, he's taking up the Adakojachi project, he's doing it. So for me, I think that the clubs in between Kotoko and Has, they are doing something right. For now, let's give them time. And then if the FA can complement what the clubs are also doing. When I say it, people will say that, oh, this is the responsibility of the clubs and all that. You see, as a football association, you need to put the framework for every club to follow. Framework, when I say...
Framework as in the club licensing regime.
Exactly.
Very well.
Are we complying with club licensing?
Well, I mean, from where I sit, we've had some major, we've had some major milestones with the implementation of the club licensing regime. For instance, certification of coaches who coach in the Premier League. That is now part of our skin, and that is full-blown now, and we're adhering to it. In terms of our pitches as well, I mean, we have to be honest. I mean, we've seen clubs get banned. I mean, venues get banned temporarily until they met the criteria. I mean, we could talk about the story of Liberty Professionals, when they were in the Premier League and all of that. So over there, I can say where we've seen one or two things being done. Of course, these are not the only criteria under the club licensing regime.
What about the financial criteria?
Very well, but
see,
so thing is, what my expectation is, or what I know, as has been communicated by your fraternity, which is the football fraternity, is that this is being implemented in stages.
Yeah.
So, for instance, do you feel we're ready to have, for instance, a regime where you can ask clubs to have a certain minimum financial base, maybe $1 million for everybody? I have that financial buffer of $1 million, in your account before you can run in the Premier League. You're looking at something like that?
That's not even the area I'm going. That's because, of course, it's almost impossible. But the truth is that how well is our league packaged? How well is our league packaged to attract sponsorship, serious sponsorship? I'm not talking of the sponsorship of $1 million. No, that's not the sponsorship I'm talking about. Because we've enjoyed 3 million before. We've enjoyed 2 million before. So if in 2023, 2022, you are enjoying
so $1 million per season is an apology for you?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Not. You've enjoyed 3 million 10 years ago, or 15 years, or 12 years ago. You've enjoyed 2 million some years ago.
But the 2 million and the 3 million you're talking about, at a certain point, they couldn't fulfill it.
Yes.
Capital Bank of old.
Yes.
It was a tier 3 bank.
Yes.
Their management sat through, their consultants sat through, and they said this is not something a tier 3 bank can.
And we went to court and we got our money.
Well, you went to court and got the money?
Yes, of course. You don't know of the Glow issue. Are you not aware of the
Not Glow. I'm talking about Capital Bank.
Capital Bank. The last time I checked, the contract we signed, we almost got all our money.
Well, almost, but not all.
Well, but I'm saying that you can't be coming from a 3 million and a 2 million and go get.
Because I had a chat with, Mr. Nyantechi, who, under whom you served as vice president, and he told me that one of the difficulties that the FA had at the time was setting that precedent of taking a partner or a sponsor to court, because then corporate Ghana was watching. So that was one of the difficulties.
Yes, but that is true, because there's a way you can always judge all. And remember with the Glow issue, remember how many years we have to engage. You understand? How many years we have to engage. But the issue is that we need to learn from the past. The fact that we made certain mistakes in the past, it means that we are expected to do things better now. Is that not the case?
Before you go on, let me also, I'm looking at it from various angles. We're looking at the economic situation in the country as well.
Yes.
Corporate Ghana, the levels of spending when it comes to sponsorship support and grants and all these that fall within that bracket of giving back to society. Is that not a consideration such that we look at the economic situation in the country and say that maybe $1 million is decent, considering the fact that generally the economy has gone through a very tough turn, and because of that, businesses are also struggling, and it's difficult to get amounts as much as $3 million?
I have a different approach.
Okay, tell me about it.
To securing sponsorship for a product like the Premier League. Okay. And I'll explain. You see, I find it difficult to understand that when the Black Stars are playing, we can get all the resources from government to fund it. But when the teams like House of Folk Kotoko are participating in club competitions in Africa, we can't fund same. I find it difficult to understand. I think that the FA need to sit down with the sports ministry and make a case.
For that matter, government?
Yes. To make a case that yes, our number one product, apart from the Black Stars, and in terms of football in Ghana, I'm talking of the Premier League, we need the government help for some state agencies to support the Premier League. Elsewhere, it's done. Well, if you have a good rapport and you are able to explain, you are able to put the numbers on the table to explain to government that no, Mr. President, can you speak to Ghana Gas, GMPC, Vodafone, to come to our aid? I think that if you make a genuine case and the president can understand that yes, our number one league in Ghana needs sponsorship and the state must find a way to sponsor, why not? I will explain why you need to fund Premier Division in Ghana through a collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Not, if you look at this country, take out politics. There's only one product that unites the country, which is football. Irrespective of our House of Folk or our Asante Kotoko or our Olympics, on every Sunday, a sporting activity engages the attention of the citizenry. And this is good for social development of our country. Every country, every government that does not pay heed to the youth, the upbringing of the youth, you are in serious trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I think that the FA need to make a case before government. Make a case before government. Why you need government to support in securing sponsorship for the league. And I don't think this is far from where other countries have been able to do it and they've succeeded. I can mention a lot of countries where, even here in Nigeria state governments take over the running of leagues in their various jurisdictions. State governments. So I'm saying that in Ghana, if we are able to put the numbers and tell the president that, Mr. President, in every week, if we are able to get a sponsorship to take care, these are the number of people that football take care of. The number of people. Because remember, the clubs, when there's a football activity at Accra Sports Stadium,
there's a ripple effect.
Yes. The byproduct.
Sure.
Everybody, including yourself, you're good. So we need to make a case. We need to make a case and let government understand that, Mr. President, we need your support in order to secure a sponsorship for our Premier League. Yes, we'll do our part. We'll have to package our product in such a way that it will be appealing for corporate bodies to say that, yes, I'm interested to associate myself with football in Ghana. Fortunately, in recent times, the act of hooliganism are going down. We don't hear of too much of what used to happen in the past, which is a good sign. So we need to build on that to attract. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Very well. So, I mean, all put together, it's not really going well.
Yes.
The running of our football is not really going well.
Yeah. You see, when I speak, I know my submission and my answers to most of these questions may sound a bit controversial, but it still remains the facts. You see, in recent times, we've witnessed certain bad officiating where referees are not punished. Sometimes the punishment is kept in the dark. You don't even hear it. Sometimes you get the federation even defending the act. We hear referees coming out boldly to apologize for mistakes. Yes, we accept that referees can make mistakes. But where one is going to a venue to watch a football match, where he has already heard the score line, in this case, the age of betting.
But these are not new. These are not nouvelle to our football. I mean, for somebody fans going to the stadium and knowing the scoreline ahead of time is not new.
If we keep on saying this is not new, then we are not ready to change.
That's not the problem. All I'm just saying is that
it has happened in the past.
Very well. So we need to acknowledge that as we move forward.
It has happened, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the
it's
rate at which it's happening now, the rate at which it's happening now, speak to the clubs. I talk to the clubs always. The fact is that
it's gone from bad to worse.
Of course. Of course. I have catalogued a number of incidents. In the coming days, I'll bring them out.
Betting is affecting our game. Betting is affecting our game?
Thankfully, the FA took a very drastic decision. Personally, I think that whether I don't want to delve into it too much, but I can say that when you punish clubs, it serves as a deterrent. As we speak today, we are aware that certain clubs have been expelled or banned, whatever way you want to. It's a good step. Whether you like it or not, it's a good step. But are they the only clubs who are doing it? Or they were just picked as an escape route?
If you were asked that question, what answer would you give to it?
Personally, I think that betting still exists in our system.
You've got evidence?
Oh, I'm saying that personally, I still think that betting is still going on.
Well, this is, like you said, I mean, these are very heavy allegations. And, I mean, if you make them on such a national platform, then you should be able to.
But not. Some of us, we sit, and thankfully through your media, we see these things on TV where people mention the scoreline of, and then it comes to pass. We hear it every day. And it's not sheer coincidence. These are not sheer coincidence.
But people predict games sometimes. We all do sometimes, and you know.
Well, people do, but trust me, we need to get serious. If really we want to eradicate it completely, we need to get serious.
Well, if you just joined us, we're having this conversation with former Ghana FA Vice President George Afriyie. We've been talking about issues of organization of our league, the attractiveness of it, the look and feel of our national teams, especially the conversation around the Championship of African Nations that just rounded up in Algeria, and Ghana's performance, Ghana's place over there. Would like to now delve into the issue of you and your place within football administration, in the country. Before that, however, in recent days, we've heard about the suggestion that has been put before the Statutes Review Committee to look at, and that is to have more than 2 terms for whoever leads the Ghana FA as president. What's your view on it?
Well, initially, I declined to comment, and then I've received a number of calls from various radio and television stations wanting my view and all that, and I declined to comment because I wanted to be sure whether this is not just mere speculation, because as a member of the Football Association, I have the opportunity to receive these proposals for consideration at the Congress of the Ghana Football Association. But I've also listened to some members of the committee granting interview. Specifically, I heard my brother Oloboy trying to explain that, yes, it's part of the document sent to the Executive Council for consideration. Now, I know that matters of this nature, when a committee is put in place to look at status review, the committee is supposed to submit its findings and its proposal to the Executive Council. Then the Executive Council will forward it onward for Congress for ratification and then or otherwise. Now, if what I'm hearing is true, and I want to choose my words carefully, then I'll find it difficult to understand what informed that. Why am I saying that? Before normalization committee, the 3-term existed in the books of CAF and FIFA. This was not new. People are making it look like the 3-term is just being put together or it's been there and it's just been announced by FIFA and the GFA Status Review Committee is just trying to put it in. No, not. The 3-term existed before normalization committee came into being. So now my question is, I know that now Odofolo Norte was part of the normalization committee. In fact, she was specifically in charge of the status review. And I also know that this one is also involved. And I know some members of the committee whose position I know before. I've heard them say it several times on your network that, oh, Ora Kwesi Nyantechi's term, the first term and the second term was very good. Now until the 3rd term, things got messed up. I hear them saying every day. I hear them saying this on radio. So then my point is, we had a normalization committee. They came up with proposals for our status and all that, and we met and we discussed it and approved. Now, it will interest you to know that I participated in these status revision discussion throughout the period. In fact, the members of the normalization committee, specifically Madam who was in charge of it, engaged some of us and sought our views. One of the areas which never came up is the 3 terms. There are other provisions in the statutes that we've talked about, like Article 39K, where we felt that powers given to the Executive Council now, there are powers that we think must be taken out from the Executive Council to be given to Congress. Remember, in recent times, some members of the football family met in Kumasi and proposed some amendment. These were some of the things we talked about. We talked about Article 81.6, where in the current statutes, from provisions from the normalization committee, they were asking the Ghana Football Association to reduce Division 1 from 48 to 18. So we have some part of the statutes that we also think that must be amended. But I'm so surprised that the one that we've never talked about, even when we engaged the normalization committee, even when FIFA came in, the one that we never talked about was the 3-term. Because most of our people came saying that, oh, we think that the federation, even though with FIFA is 12 years, even though CAF is 12 years, we think that in Ghana here, we must go the Ghana way. Because those are no mandatory provisions under FIFA and CAF, the 12 years. And they are not mandatory. You can choose to say that in your country you want to do 1 term. FIFA doesn't care. You can choose to say you want to do the 8 years, the 2 terms. FIFA doesn't. If you can choose to also comply and do the 12 years, FIFA doesn't. But we choose what is practiced in our country in our democratic dispensation. 4 years for 2 terms for the president. But for the parliamentarian, you can go as many as.
What is your personal view or your personal opinion on this matter? Do you subscribe to having a leadership or a head of the FA who can stay there for an unlimited period of time, provided that Congress is in agreement with his leadership, his or her leadership? Or you are looking at limited terms or term limits, if I may put it that way? Which would you go for and what would be your reasons?
You see, first of all, I want to understand the reason behind this suggestion from my members. I will come to my personal view. But I want to understand. So I'm giving you a background, what the position was before. I'm saying that these 3 terms already existed. It's not like it's something that is being brought up. It's there from FIFA and CAF. Yes. It's 12 years. But I'm saying that when the normalization committee took over, and did amendments to our statutes, and why did they say that we should go for 8 years? And why did most of our members comply with it? And nobody raised a voice. Okay, now let's come back to the question where you asked you. My understanding, in any law that you put, be it the Constitution of Ghana or whatever, for me, I think that you need to practice it over time to understand the effects and the benefits. First of all, as we speak, Simon Okreko has not even finished, President Keto Okreko has not even completed his first term. So that we can access him to say that, oh, wait a minute, the president is even doing well. He's not even completed his first term. Because as for that provision, it's already there. If he goes to full 2 terms and the Football Association members or the Congress of the Ghana Football Association feels that, oh, we can amend our own to fall in line with CAF and FIFA, we can do it. Because it's already there. But why are you thinking about it now when you've not even completed your first term? Why are you thinking about it now? And some of the things I'm hearing, I don't want to believe it because I want to, I'm hearing that.
Your last statement, is it to suggest that it's Kurt himself who's saying he wants it? This is a suggestion that is coming from,
you see, who put up members of every review committee? The FA president. At the sitting of the executive committee, the president can nominate out of the 11 people sitting there and say, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want so person, form a committee. So he knows, he understands, the people who understand, maybe the people who are doing this revision, because honestly, some of the things I know, they will never see the light of day. I'll give you an example. I hear, because we are going autonomous, because there's a proposal saying that our league is going autonomous. But you see, that thing, anytime I hear about it, then I said, oh, there's nothing like autonomous. If you say semi-autonomous here, I understand. I don't see how our league can go autonomous. But be it as it may, this is what they are proposing. So let's see how it works. Because in 4 years, we are in the 4th league season of Kurt's administration. And there's no autonomous league. As far as I'm concerned, that was a campaign promise. That he will make sure that there's autonomous league. So if this season goes to an end, he has completed a 4-year term by October. And there's no autonomous league. Now, my understanding from what some of the proposals that I'm hearing is that the Premier Division clubs are going to cede their powers to the league. So let's say we go to Congress and we want to take a decision, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how many numbers. From what I'm hearing, not even the number will not be more than 6. We'll go to Congress and represent the Premier Division. How is that possible? That a certain Togbe Afede, a certain Otunfo Upokuware's team.
A set to you mean?
Oh,
Otunfo
said to team. The club Asante Kotoko and House of Folk will not have a voice in Congress, but maybe a rep from among the league clubs will speak for them in Congress and take decisions for them. Rather, the bigger power is vested in Division 1 and women football and the allied constituencies. How is that possible?
Welcome back on the AM show. Hopefully you enjoyed that engagement in sports. But time now for me to give you my blunt thoughts for the morning. I've titled it, Leading a Mess. Akufo-Addo's mess and the price we are paying for it. Bad leaders, terrible leaders, clueless leaders. There are some everywhere on God's earth. There are a few places, though, which have an unfair share of piss-poor leaders. Leaders who, instead of making the lot of their people better, actually end up exacerbating matters even further. The study of politics will reveal to you how political parties contest for power so they can implement their policies, which are supposed to ultimately benefit the masses. When you look around, though, in our part of the world, it is clear the real beneficiaries of political leadership tend to be the political leaders themselves and their affiliates or cronies. If I were to ask you, watching me this morning, bluntly, by just how much do you think your life, your personal economy, your human development, and your fortunes generally have improved over these last few years, what would your response be? I would love to know. Most of you, or your largely predictable answers to my question, explain why I feel leadership, or more aptly, the misleadership that is often dealt us in our part of the world, is simply not cutting it. Bad leadership is not always starkly autocratic or dictatorial. In fact, sometimes it comes to us dressed in the con clothes of democracy and human rights and the rule of law and all of that. Let us consider, though, some back-to-the-bone characters from the past and how, though they were not democratic, their actions could reflect some of what we are witnessing. Let's go far back in time and picture Attila the Hun. Attila, aka Scourge of God, was an uneducated barbarian born in the 5th century. After his uncle's death, Attila and his brother Bleda took control of the Hunnic Empire and signed a peace truce with the Eastern Roman Empire. Just a few years later, Attila led a series of vigorous attacks on the Romans by breaching the peace agreement and demanded gold and gems to stop the fight. The lust for power blinded him so much that he killed his brother Bleda to rule the empire alone. During his callous rule extending from 434 to 453 AD, Attila used to say, note, "There, where I have passed, the grass will never grow again." Attila died of severe nose bleeding in 453 AD when he celebrated his second marriage feast. Nobody knows about his burial site as his servants got killed after his death. Even in death, this dude was still killing people. How about a more recent example now? Let's do Pol Pot, shall we? Ever heard of him? Pol Pot was the chief of the Cambodian revolutionary group who planned the Cambodian genocide. He is cast as a demon in Cambodian mythology as he tries to annihilate the Cambodian civilization to set up a new regime. During his reign as a prime minister from 1976 to 1979, it was always, "Pol Pot killed my husband," or "Pol Pot destroyed the temple." His policies killed almost 2 million people, wiping out 25% of his population. His atrocity was not satisfied just by killing innocent people, as he ordered babies to be torn limb by limb. Now, you may be asking, why do I point to the president's mess as I speak of all of this? Well, with an executive as powerful as ours, and with all the ignored calls by Mr. President on myriad topical issues with the consequences we are facing, whom else would you rather blame? If credit is due, we would give it to him. In like manner, should there be blame, we ought to hand it to him. Simple. I shudder to say this, but in our misleadership, I figure we have seen at our national level such crooked, twisted, deceitful misleadership like never before witnessed in the Fourth Republic. We are seeing today the Bernie Madoffs and the Charles Ponzis, after whom we get the term Ponzi scheme, doing their worst as they claim to run our country. Look at our economy. It's in a shambles. How did we get here? We all know how. But why are we not even considering the real remedial measures toward not just mediocre short-term relief, but well thought through lasting sustenance? We have at post crooked financial gurus using brain work not to work for the ordinary Ghanaian, but instead to rip him off. Look at us. Look at this domestic debt exchange and how it's biting us hard. We recently shared with you the story of Dr. Yao Pebi, who, while speaking on Joy FM Super Morning Show, said he had encouraged many health practitioners in the country to cultivate the culture of investment and thus is pained by the turn of events. While reminiscing on the sacrifices he and his colleagues had to make to gain the principle to buy bonds, Dr. Pebi could not help but shed tears. He had encouraged colleague doctors to save. In his own words, "We sacrificed student loans and some entertainment among others. And now those who were just blowing their money are laughing at us. They'll be saying, 'You should have chopped the money,'" he said. Why did we have to come to this? Why? Because of the recklessness and greed of a few. That's why. Come with me. When you look at our slides for today, starting from the calls to downsize government, The Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council has been urging government to cut down on expenditure by reducing the size of government, implement policies that promote the good of the citizenry rather than merely for the political party or the government, and review its major flagship programs. You look at some of our budgetary allocations, even the positives. You look at the 2022 budget allocation for free SHS, 2.3 billion. It shot up to 2.96 billion. 660 million increased. Planting for Food and Jobs, 630 million in 2022, 700 million in 2023. That's a 70 million Ghana cedi increment. 1D1F, 260 million last year. In this year, 350 million. That's a 90 million Ghana cedi increment. My question, even with these increments, how much have we seen and how much can we expect to see? In terms of the calls to downsize government, it's not the first. The Catholic Bishops' Conference has said it. Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana, they pointed to that. The Center for Democratic Development has pointed to that. Occupy Ghana, among a host of other institutions and groups, have asked for same. But even if we don't think that we can do what other countries in the West are doing, how about neighboring African countries? Let's go to Malawi. The president, Lazarus Chakwera, has reduced the cabinet size from 31 ministers to 25 ministers, making it one of the smallest in Africa. And it's not just cabinet. By and large, they have one of the smallest groups in terms of ministerial appointments across the continent. When you come to our country, Article 76 of the 1992 Constitution mandates, a lot of you don't know, mandates the president to appoint a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 19 cabinet ministers. Currently, Ghana has 28 cabinet ministers. That's in excess by 9. And mind you, when you look at Malawi, it's not that they are so small. Their population is around 19.89 million. So you can round it off to 20 million. The total number of ministers currently, including the regional ones, is 86. Now, if you look at their allocations to the 28 ministries, cabinet ministries, it sums up to 72.8 billion. If these ministries were 19, according to the initial list provided in 2017, this is how much we would be saving. It would come to 66.9 billion, and that would be our savings. 5.81 billion. Do you know what this can do in Ghana? Roads, other infrastructure, hospitals, schools under trees, schools without desks. To wrap, according to the Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. John Kwache, the Bank of Ghana unlawfully printed 40 billion Ghana cedis, the equivalent of 3.3 billion. How much are we going to the IMF for again? For government, and received a paper in return. We have seen some response from the Bank of Ghana. Government plans to convert the loans into bonds to make it liable to restructuring. When you look at all these dynamics, fellow Ghanaians, and you contemplate where we are, you see that mismanagement, the recklessness I speak of, has led us here. It's high time we stood up and did something about that. Because if the ship capsizes, we will go down with it. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I say all these because I am extremely passionate about Ghana. And like I always say, what her future, intricately tied to ours, holds. These are my blunt thoughts for you, served raw, hot, unedited, and undiluted. As always, we pray that God will richly bless our motherland and make her great and strong. We don't take it for granted that you stayed with us on the AM show. We're grateful. I do this, as always, together with Bernice Abubeidu Lanza. Thank you for your company. Now, as we get into our big stories, we're going to be engaging flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, Percival Kofi Akpalu. He joins us for breakfast to talk about myriad issues, like I made mention of in the introduction to the show. He's going to be talking about party politics, We're going to be talking about that third front that has eluded us as far as our party politics is concerned. What has he been up to? What do these parties, the smaller parties, have on offer? We'll be talking about that together with the economy and matters arising. Kofi, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, bro.
Thanks for joining us on the AM show. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh yes, more than a year now.
What has Kofi Akpalu been up to?
Actually, we are rebuilding our party. So at the moment,
the LPG.
LPG. So we're going around the country, trying to build the constituencies and then the polling station structures to make sure the party is well grounded.
I see. You started sometime in 2011.
You are right.
You founded the party, and then in 2016, you were not allowed to contest.
Exactly.
You couldn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And you came back in 2020
exactly.
and contested. But the point has always been made that the smaller parties are not able to make an impact. We'll get there. But looking at your trajectory, 2016 to 2020, would you say the fortunes of your party, the party you lead, have improved any?
Oh, very, very, very. We are growing as a party, and we have been able to identify our flaws. So we are working on it.
What are those flaws?
Yeah, because we're not being visible to anywhere. It's like we're just having an opportunity to come on radio or TV, and then we'll be sharing what we have. But that's not enough. So at the moment, we are able to go around the country, talking to people in schools, in churches, in the communities, sharing what we have. That aside MPP and NDC, we are the next alternative, the best alternative too. So, and the people are receiving us very, very well. So, and also, like I said, we've learned a lot from the past, what we did wrong and what we think we can do better now. So that's why this time around, when you go to up north, you see our presence all over. There's no community in the Upper East, Upper West, Savannah, Northeast, Northern region, Bunu East, Bunu, Ahafo, Western North, that you not find us there. Every community, you find LPG there. So we are building, and we believe that by the end of this year, we should be in every house, in every room. We should be there.
Every house, every
room.
But you know, it goes beyond just the rhetoric, just saying we are the third force, just saying we're going to be in every room and all of that. You remember during that other attempt by former President Mills, may his soul rest in peace.
Exactly.
People had to go door to door, stop the fanciful talk and go door to door. Mr. Remo, and speak to citizens. In fact, that was the same approach adopted by the current president, Akufo-Addo. So you say you've been going round, and the Northern Belt has been captured, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which specific areas have you been to? What have the reactions been like?
Yeah, actually, all the villages and towns in up north, we've been there.
So you're talking about northern, upper west,
upper east, Savannah, northeast. We've been to every constituency there. We've been there. We are working. We are seriously working. And we know that if we don't work harder, we won't get anywhere. This MPP and NDC, you can't just uproot them. I mean, they are well established, and you need to do extra work to get them out of the way. So we are working. We are seriously working. And before, we're not doing what we are doing at the moment, because we thought when you have the opportunity to sit on TV, you can just share your views, and that's all, and people will vote for you. There are some people who are watching us. Even about 90% of the people are not even having time to watch TV or listening to this account radio where we have been going to. So until you go to them, then they'll be able to know that, oh, there's this one. You know, when we went to voter region, some people were saying, we are so happy to have our own to be, decided to contest the next election. I said, what? But I was on on the ballot in the 2020, they said, oh no, we didn't see you. We didn't hear anything of you.
So visibility was a problem?
Yes, exactly. So that's what we are working this time. So we are going to the people. Everywhere we meet them, we talk to them, and then we give them the reason why they should vote for LPG. Because we are the only alternative at the moment. Because MPP and NDC, they've done what we can. I mean, we are all witnesses to everything that they've done. So we need to give them the best alternative, and the best alternative is LPG.
How are you able to do all of these things that you're doing in terms of funding? It's quite a lot. I read an article where you said way back when that you are filthily rich because you worked hard. Are you funding this out of your pocket? Do you get any support from somewhere?
Oh yeah,
running your party?
Oh yeah, I get a lot of support.
From where?
Yeah, because you see, LPG is part of the Libra International. Okay, we are part of the Libra International, and they are supporting us in many ways. So,
what is the Liberal International? What is that?
That's the mother of all liberal parties around the globe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are they based?
Oh, okay. Our headquarters is based in the UK, and then we have our regional one, that is the African Liberal Network. We are based in Johannesburg. Yeah.
I see. So you get support from them?
Yes, a lot of
financial support.
Oh, no financial support, but they give us a lot of support. When they say support, you know, there are certain things that somebody will give to you. It's even when you quantify it, it's more than money.
So what kind of support do they give you?
No, I won't share that one here.
You can't share that?
No, I can't share that one.
Is that something secret?
Oh, no, because that is between us and them. We can't share them here.
That raises concerns, doesn't it? Because those are some of the very things we speak about when it comes to party politics in the country. Yeah. Influences.
Yeah.
So let's assume at some point Kofi Akpalu becomes president of the Republic of Ghana. You're getting this support from the Africa Liberal Network and all of that. Support that you don't even want to talk about on live television.
No, I can't share.
How can we guarantee that if someone like you came into office, we wouldn't have all kinds of people lobbying you for strange reasons we cannot even...
Oh, no. You see, NDC belongs to the Socialist International. Okay? They've not denied that they are not part of Socialist International. Because even in their last Congress, they even introduced somebody, they said he has been elevated to a position, blah, blah, blah. And then MPP, Democratic Union. MPP is part of Democratic Union. So it depends on your ideological background. That will determine the kind of association you belong to. So if you're a serious political party, you should have some people that you can rely on when the need arises, because you cannot just be on your own. No, you can't. You cannot never live in isolation. You know, this world that we live in. Yeah, it's a network. So you got to be part of the network.
Let's go back to money, because interestingly, whether it's Ghana or Nigeria or across the African landscape, if you want to secure power, no matter how well-intentioned you may be, you need a lot of hard kwacha, naira, cedi, rand, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I went back to what you said some time back. You're filthily rich. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Your words.
Yeah.
And so in terms of money, how do you bankroll your party? Do you do it out of pocket? And there are people who have said in the past that, you know, there are some politicians in this country, the smaller parties, who are often influenced by the bigger ones, the NDC and the MPP. And sometimes you are just used to foil the other parties in certain areas. And they bankroll you. They support you financially so you can do damage to their opponents.
Actually, our party was not built on that premise, because it's a calling. You know, we are different. We know God called us into this business that we are. So
God called you?
Oh, yes. On the 10th of March, 2010, God gave me an idea that Kofi, I've made you president over this country. So go forward. That's why you see me doing this. And when God calls you into something, He'll provide. Like what He did for Abraham. Abraham asked, where is the lamb? God said, you go. When he got there, God surprised him with a lamb. So God is my provider, and He's supplying all that we need.
God is your provider. He's supplying all that you need.
Yeah, but if our party, I want everybody to understand that we are not in affiliation with any political party.
You are not?
No. We, as a party, we are a serious political party. We do what is right, and we continue to do what is right. So we are not here to beat anybody's thing for him. You understand? We are doing our own thing, and we want to capture power. We are serious, and we will capture power. We are not here. People sometimes think that maybe I belong to MPP or NDC. You know, depending on who is in power.
How do you feel when people...
No, I mean, I know I can't blame them because maybe that's how they think. And so what somebody thinks is not my business. But what I think and what I do is my business.
How much does it cost you to run your party?
Unfortunately, I don't have the figures here, but I can provide anytime.
Generally?
Oh, generally it costs, depending on what you are doing in the season that you are in. If you are in a political season, definitely it's going to cost you a lot of money. But if in a normal season, then definitely it will not be too much. Because you have staff that you have to pay them.
You know why I ask that? Because it's been proven that, you know, to contest for the presidency or a parliamentary seat, even at the primaries, costs a lot of money. If you're going for parliamentary elections, you'll be spending in the hundreds of thousands, millions, some 4 million Ghana cedis plus. In terms of the presidency, you'll be spending millions of dollars in our small country. You have been there and done that. In 2012, you went for the first time standing for the IPP, right?
Yeah.
In that time, you fielded 5 parliamentary candidates. You went for 5 seats, and you contested the presidency. If you bankrolled all of this, like you say you've been doing all the way through to 2020, give us a ballpark figure. How much goes into it?
It depends on the season.
It depends on the season.
And what you are doing.
I see you don't want to talk money with us.
Oh, no. You see, I don't think MPP and NDC are sharing those kind of information to the public. So why should I?
2 wrongs don't make a wrong.
No, it doesn't matter.
And if the right thing is not being done by those who have been at the helm of affairs, and you want to be there, you should start doing the right thing.
No, you see, sometimes, okay, they said the wise dwarf can see far than a giant, because you just stand on the shoulders of the giants and then you can see ahead more than what the giant that you are on.
So you are the wise dwarf.
Exactly. So as a small party, you need to learn from the bigger ones, those who have been there. You have to learn. You know, you don't just jump into anything, you know. So it's not everything that if they are not sharing, then you have to ask, why are they not sharing? Then before you come out, you can't just...
And that brings me to my next question. Funding for political parties in Ghana.
Yeah.
We have some stipulations in the Constitution about what we should be doing, but some say it doesn't suffice. It's not enough. There are so many loopholes. It talks about foreigners and what they can do and what they cannot do and all of that. But in the United States, for example, they have a system that allows lobbying big corporations to, you can do it, but let's know exactly how much.
Exactly.
And beyond certain sums cannot be given to certain individuals. There's a lot of public funding for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. People fund, just as you would find among Labour and the Conservatives in the UK.
Exactly.
When you look at our system and how people see so many influences, monetary influences. People have said that it's even possible for drug barons to support, candidates in this country. And of course, when they win, you know what to expect. What do you make of our system in that regard?
Yeah, our system, we need to look at so many things, especially when people dishing out money to electorates to vote for them, buying votes. That is where the problem is. Because if somebody want to be maybe whatever candidate and then decide to, even from the primaries where they spend a lot of money, we see people sharing fridges, whatever, and nobody talk about it and nobody is punished, and it will continue.
So you're basically saying this should start becoming punishable.
Oh, yes.
In fact, so if we ever see you, we've seen instances like this in the past. If we ever see you doling out money, whatever the intent may
you have
be,
to arrest me. You have to seriously arrest me because I don't condone those things. Because you see, we don't need to do those things here. Why? If somebody is giving, let's say, 10 Ghana cedis to the electorates, and we have, let's say, 15 million electorates, we're talking about 150 million Ghana cedis. And that 150 million Ghana cedis can build 3 factories to employ some of our young men and women out there. Somebody wants to become a parliamentary candidate, you go around giving money to delegates. And everybody is quiet about this. And this is destroying our political system. You know, so until we fight those things, and who are those doing that? It's MPP and NDC. Because we, the smaller parties, nobody does that. Okay? Nobody does that. So this MPP and NDC are doing it. So they have to stop. Okay? And then it's even now, it's coming all the way from primary schools. Even from primary schools, secondary schools, universities.
Tertiary institutions.
They are all paying money before they win elections. And it's wrong. Assembly members are paying money to win elections. Even when somebody is given is nominated to become a DC or whatsoever, the person have to pay money to the assembly members before the person is given the nod to go through. Even at parliament, sometimes we heard that some people have to dole money out before, even when they have been nominated by the president to become ministers of states or whatever. They have to pay money before they pass them. And these things are going on and nobody talks about it because those going to parliament spend a lot of money to win that seat. So when they get there, their business is to make money for themselves, not for the country, not to help anybody. So that is why we are in a situation where we are now. And this thing must stop. If we don't stop this, my brother,
how do we stop it?
Yeah, because
how do we
stop? We have to start punishing people. We have to punish people.
Shouldn't we start with the law, maybe?
I don't know what laws that we have, but I believe that there's no law backing that kind of stuff. I don't know any particular law, but I believe that there should be. And there's no law that will entertain this kind of stuff. But just that we don't have proper police system and proper whatever here in this country. Because the police cannot do anything. The police
are you suggesting that, for example, the police at any given point in time is beholden to the powers that be, and so they become, in a way, toothless bulldogs?
Exactly. Because the way we nominate and appoint our police hierarchy, that's where the problem starts from. So something must be done about the Constitution.
You've spoken about the NDC and the MPP and some distasteful words, so to speak, because you feel they are not delivering, they are not doing the right things. And we've just been talking about political party funding and all of that. You seem to have a different mindset, but I'm sure people out there will say, Yatiabre, NDC, MPP, they come singing the same songs, give them power, and next thing you know, they're acting very differently. What is different? What makes Kofi Akpalu stand out? I'm sure going into election 2024, you may want to compete. What is different about you?
Yeah, what is different about me is that I don't see myself as a politician. I see myself as a statesman. And
as a statesman?
Yeah. And I believe that this country of ours, it's for all of us. And we have to protect everything that we have. But we have entrusted everything into the hands of foreign nationals. It's whatever belongs to us, we don't have control over them. And some people are making fortunes. Like, let's take gold, for instance. Newmont, Anglo Gold, whatever. They are controlling all these resources. And when it comes to the oil, Tala Oil, Anadaco, Cosmos Energy, whatever, those are controlling. What is our share? We don't have anything. Even when it comes to the telecommunication now, it's being controlled by MTN and Vodafone. They are all foreign investors. Until we start doing things on our own, until we start creating capital in this country, we're going nowhere. Now, if we go to the retail sector, it's been controlled by ShopRite, Palace, Mekong, and even China more. They are all controlling everything. So there is nothing in this country that is ours anymore. So we need to look at all these things again. Even when it comes to food that we consume, we have to import everything. We import fish, we import poultry, we import, rice. When are we going to start producing things on our own?
The president has spoken about a drive to do exactly that, import substitution.
And then when you look at our raw materials, we don't add value to them. We sell them cheap.
But these are things we know. They are common knowledge. They are not things that are, this is not rocket science.
Yeah, but
very basic stuff.
Oh, but we need to do it. We need to do it. If you know and you don't do it, I mean, there's something wrong with your thinking, because we need to do it. My brother, I don't see why we should export bauxite in a raw form.
Right.
Whilst we can build a refinery. How much will it cost us to set up a refinery? If it's, let's say, $1 billion or $2 billion, can't we raise $2 billion to do that in this country? To add value to our bauxite so that we turn them into finished products.
I remember under Nkrumah, there was a plan for a smelter.
We have a smelter.
We do. I mean, we also have
Bawku.
Bawku.
Yeah.
We have Bawku. But I'm saying that beyond that,
we need to have
value addition.
Yeah.
We seem not to have done much in that regard.
Even the cocoa, we are so happy to put them on the ship and go and sell it cheap. Okay, even right now, sometimes I ask myself, why is that you have to go out to borrow money to come and buy cocoa? They said it's syndicated loan. Then you go and pay processing fees and whatever to the advisors and transactional advisors and the rest. Why should we? Is there any cocoa farmer in this country that we pay $1 to buy cocoa from? So why is that every time you have to raise syndicated loan to buy cocoa? I mean, I don't get it.
You want us to wean ourselves of that. But that is just getting in advance money that we're going to have anyway. The money that we can...
What do you
money we anticipate to get and which we can use beforehand for certain boons. Is that wrong?
Benjamin, let me tell you something. Yeah? I don't support the idea that we have to go and raise that syndicated loan to buy cocoa beans. I don't support it, and I'll never support it, because
what's the rationale?
I think we are losing money in that sense. When we bring that $1, do we use the $1 to pay the cocoa farmer, or we use cedis to buy cocoa? If we use cedis to buy cocoa, where was the cedi sitting? So where were those cedis sitting? So can't we use our own money to buy them and then add value to them? Turn into something. You know, my brother, this country, we need to change. If we don't change, I saw something like when you were reading the news, I saw something behind on the screen. You said somebody has suggested that we should cut expenditure, we should do this. No. So far, no, it will not solve any problem. Because if you cut costs, you can cut cost to zero. It means you are not spending anything. But it will never solve a problem. What you need is to increase your revenue. So you have to look at what you can do to bring in money.
Over the last few years, our revenue per the data that the GRA has been giving us has been ballooning. We've been getting quite a lot. Now with the EVAT, and it's quite, the 15+% that has been added on, we're raking in a lot more.
No.
Are we seeing anything different?
No, we are not. We are rather killing the people in this country. We are killing them we are overburdening them with taxes. You see, that is why people are complaining in this country. Create an avenue for everybody to contribute to the basket. Create an avenue whereby everybody, all able young men and women, will find something to do. Look, go around and see young men at this time. They are sitting there idle, they are not working. Some have ended in the beer bars and then the appetizer bars and all the rest. Because we are not doing anything to give these people hope. We are not doing anything to create jobs for them. We are not doing anything to give them opportunity to make it right here. You see, we have a lot to do as a country, and we need new leadership. Not MPP, not NDC, because they have nothing to offer this country. We got to change them. If we are serious.
So you're not for cost cutting, but cost cutting is always part of economic. In fact, now that we're going to the IMF, we're going to have to cut our coat according to our cloth. It definitely means that cost cutting is essential, and we've not taken a look at that. So are you saying that when it comes to the number of ministers, for example, look at what other countries are doing. Look at even what the Constitution stipulates. 19 cabinet ministers. We have 28. The add-ons, do you know how much that costs us? So are you saying cost cutting in those areas is irrelevant? Is that what you're saying?
To me, that is not our problem. To me, that's not our problem. Our problem is that we have entrusted everything to the foreigners, and they are controlling us. They are making the money. Now, look at this thing that they talk about. They said novel gold for oil.
Right.
Me, I don't see any novelty in this, you understand? Because, my brother, you have oil, and somebody is taking the oil outside this country to go and turn it into something, and then you go and buy the final product and bring it here. What stops you from negotiating with them so that you buy at least half of whatever they are exploring, and then sending them to Tema Oil Refinery?
You know the state of the Tema Oil Refinery, right?
No matter what it is, we can turn it. You see, I don't believe that if the thing is there idle, how much will it cost you to bring it to start producing? So please, just spend money, invest money there, turn it around, let the thing work, so that you don't need to go and buy finished product from somewhere. Because when you have the crude, you take it to Tema Refinery, you can get a lot of byproducts and the rest. Apart from the diesel and then the super, you can also get a whole lot. So let's look at that. Let's look at the laws that we signed, the MPP and NDC signed, so that these people are taking everything. Look at gold. Newmont, they take everything outside this country. They don't add value to anything here to create jobs, to create wealth for our people. How much did they bring to this country to take all these things that they are taking them away? You see, we need to sit down as
a people. But they make large capital investments in our country.
How much?
The investments that we cannot make, for which reason we get the 5% and the 10%.
No, because we don't have leaders in this country. That is why.
We don't have leaders.
Exactly. Because we have leaders.
We have a president in this country.
No.
We have a vice.
There's a difference between a president and a leader.
So
anybody can be a president.
You're saying Akufo-Addo is not a leader?
No, what I'm saying is anybody can be a president. But what I'm saying is that we need leaders. You see, let me tell you something.
But you say in one breath, we need leaders, and we don't have leaders.
You know,
so do we have leaders in this country?
Look at the energy that we apply to chase our brothers and sisters from the bushes because we thought they were doing galamsey, because they were destroying our lands. Have we find time to go to Newmont site at Kenya, South Kenya, to check how devastated our lands have become? How they have destroyed our lands there. Nobody has done that. Go to Chirano, go to so many places, and then you see how they are destroying our lands. But nobody talks about it because they think that they are multinationals and whatever. And then we chase our own people.
But you do realize with these multinational corporations, they have certain responsibilities. They don't.
So what stops us?
Hold on. They don't act like some of these illegal small-scale miners.
Yeah.
When they are done, reclamation and all of that, there are legal processes they must follow. Are you saying they don't follow them?
No. So if these people are following the so-called lay down whatever, what stops us from asking our own people to also follow the same due? You see, we easily get. Because do you know where this thing started from? Because this is why people realized that some of our people were making money. So they did some footage, some whatever, and then they throw it out there that, our people are destroying the lands. And then we went after them. We chased them out of the bushes. Please, let's put these young people together. Let's bring them together. Let them form companies so that we can also control what we have.
But we have legitimate groups for small-scale mining in this country. We've also seen, are you telling me you've not seen the devastation of galamsey? Are you telling me you've not seen that?
If you go to Kenya, and then you see what Newmont have done to our land, then you will not sit here and say that, our young people are destroying the lands. I'm telling you, just go there.
Do you have anything personal against?
No, I don't have.
To be bringing them up.
No, I don't have. I don't have anything against anybody. I don't have anything against anybody, but I'm telling you as it is. Spend time. Joy is not a small media house. I mean, that is the #1 media house in this country. So you can have access to their site, if only they will allow you. Then you when you come back, you will report differently. And then you see, our problem here is that Newmont and those other companies like Tala Oil, Cosmos Energy, and the rest, they brought in $400 million, $300 million, and then they are taking everything. Can't we, if we are good leaders, we should be able to pull us together collectively. We put our monies together to raise money. If you get 1 million Ghanaians and each person is bringing $500, it's $500 million. So the ownership stays here. When we don't have the know-how to even manage or to even do the technical thing, we can now employ the services of other people so that the ownership stays with us. Instead of giving everything to foreigners. I'm against that what MDC and MPP have brought us to. We got to change. And I think, Benjamin, you see, let's all come together as a people. And then let's think back and find out why we are here. And what can we do? What can we do differently to take us forward?
It's important you bring that point. But before I ask what you would do differently when it comes to some of these things, you say we are being overtaxed. We're not addressing the Galamsey situation properly, gold for oil and all of that, and that we should get the Tema oil refinery reactivated. But just to let our viewers know as well that some of the allegations that have been made on the platform about Newmont, we cannot independently verify as of now.
Sure.
So if we ever come to that point, we'll let you know, but these are your allegations for now, not subscribed to by us. So what exactly would you do differently? Let's assume. I mean, it would be a tricky situation because you need those seats in parliament. But let's assume you became president of this country. Some of the very things you're speaking of now, how would you address them? How differently would you handle them?
Honestly, what we will do is that we will make sure we don't import rice.
We don't import
rice.
Even the United States imports stuff.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying is that we are not going to import rice after 6 months in government. We are not going to. We're not going to import poultry after 6 months in government. We will make sure we add value to everything that we have in this country that belongs to us, like cocoa, like bauxite, like even we have to invest more in cotton production, so that we can start producing what you are wearing and what I'm wearing here in Ghana. Because if you look at the shoe we are all wearing today, everything was imported. So we got to start producing all those things here. And when we start producing all this, because sometimes we go out there and go and borrow money to come and build bridges, like this, the bridge here, the one you call Dubai.
Kwame Nkrumah interchange.
Kwame Nkrumah interchange. We were able to borrow money to build that one, but we were not able to borrow money to build factories.
We have 1D, 1F.
Yeah, even I saw some figures on your screen.
Right.
Look how much went into that area, and then how much went into planting for food and jobs. I think it's half of that went into one district, one factory. It means we are not serious.
But even when you look at 1D, 1F, has it yielded the results that you would want to see?
Yeah, because the money going there is not enough. And then those who are even managing it, I have a problem with some of them. Because they be giving money to some people, and they are not chasing those people because the people have squandered the money.
That's an allegation you're making.
Oh,
right?
yes.
But who has squandered what money? Which people, which entities?
Oh, I know some people who have gone there, they've given them money, but they promised that they were going to build factories, but up to now, they've not built a factory. I don't want to mention anybody's name here.
In which parts of the country?
Oh, I know some. There's even one guy at Kwabre West. I know that guy. You know, he went to Eisenbach, they gave him the money. You know.
So basically, there's also mismanagement of funds in the sense that we're not getting value for money, and some of those,
Yes.
even with some of these policies, the right things are not being done.
Yeah, because the guys are not up to the task. You know, they'll be giving them the money. Oh, use this money to support businesses. And I mean, they give to people, and the people just do whatever they like with the money, don't do what it's supposed to do.
If you were to become president, is it something you would continue but adopt a different approach to?
Oh, yeah, because, you know, I've been accusing MPP for stealing my idea, you know, because, you know, 2016, we were the first party to launch our manifesto, if you remember, because MPP and NDC were, it's like, they were not even ready to launch their manifesto, thinking that somebody would steal their manifesto. So in my manifesto, I said we're going to add value to all our natural resources, making sure we build factories in the communities. You know, if you don't produce, how do you make money? And then, let me tell you something. You see, what I would do different is that when you go to the Bible, do you read Bible, yeah? When you go to the Bible, the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28, it says, in the days ahead, your old men will have dreams, and then your young men and young women will have what? Visions. Every young man in this country, young man or young woman, one way or the other, is having visions every blessed day. But there's nowhere they will go and get support. So they will die with their visions. I can tell you, if Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or the other guy, Michael Dell, if they have come from this part of the world, I'm telling you by now, they will be sitting in the appeal bar.
They will be sitting in the appeal bar.
Because nobody would have helped them. Nobody. A country whereby somebody comes to power and say, oh, you are not my party person, so I will destroy your business. What kind of mentality?
Has that happened to you before?
Oh, yes. Somebody destroyed my business just like that in 2004. You know, so I don't want to go back to the past. But I'm telling you, this is the country that we live in.
What
you know,
business,
forgetting
what
that, when you come to Joy Multimedia, we have everybody working here. CPP people, LPG people, NDC people, MPP people. So if you destroy this business because you think maybe Kosichum belong to LPG, what are you doing? Because here we don't pay unemployment benefits. That is why we destroy businesses easily. If the government has that burden on him, that if somebody is not working, you have to pay that person unemployment benefit, every government will sit up. And then they will not misuse our monies because they will think that, hey, you have to do everything to make sure people get jobs. Because here, government don't have any responsibility. Whether you will die or you will live, they don't care. Because government doesn't care where you sleep. Go around the city and see people who are sleeping anywhere, anyhow.
Sleeping rough.
LPG will change that because we are going to build housing. We call it affordable rental accommodation, whereby you get a single room, your toilet and bath, and then you are good to go. You pay every month your rent. This is what we will do. This is what we intend to do. And this, you see, all these things, we don't need to go and borrow dollar to do this. You can use cedis to buy cement. You can use cedis to buy iron rods, to do all these things here.
Let's talk about, you're talking about options, and it's good we talk about that, especially in our leadership, but how viable is a third force in our current dispensation? Do you think we are ready for it beyond the NPP and the NDC? Do you think Ghanaians practically are ready for LPG or any smaller party?
Ghanaians are more than ready for a third force. But just that, in the past, people were not, able to do what will ginger Ghanaians to follow. And this is exactly what LPG is doing. LPG is making sure everybody will come on board. And then 2024 elections, my brother, it's not going to be easy for MPP and NDC. Nobody should sit anywhere and think that it's going to be easy. You know, we will win the elections.
LPG.
Exactly. We'll win the elections. Trust me, we'll win the election. This election.
It's interesting, but you've said this before.
Oh, you see, when I said
you said it in 2012. In 2016 you started saying it, but you didn't get to complete. In 2020 you said that.
No, do you know why? When I said those things, I knew where I was coming from.
Where were you coming from?
Yes, because of what I saw and what I'm doing. But you know, those times, I did not do what I'm doing now.
Which is what?
Going down to the people in their communities, letting them know what we have. That we are going to pay child benefit. Every child in this country will receive child benefit every month. If you are not working, we give you unemployment benefit.
How are you going to do all of this? We're going to the IMF. We have an economic situation. Bondholders are not even going to get the dividends on their bonds, the coupons they expect in time. For some, they are going to be enduring this till around 2033, 10 years from now. And you're telling me you're going to do all of this magic. Where are you going to source the money from?
You see, monies are in our heads.
Money is in our heads.
Yeah. When you go to, your dad can be poor, the world poorest person, but you can come out and be the world richest person. Do you know why? It's not because we don't get wealth from inheritance. We create them. That is why when you go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 18, it says, I am the Lord that giveth thee power to create wealth. It means wealth, we create them. So you can be sitting on gold and then we don't know what to use the gold for. That's why even the old days, our forefathers were exchanging mirror for gold. We were exchanging gold for mirror. You understand? So we need to have that power, the ability. You see, when I become president, there's certain things that the government doesn't need to do it. You need to involve your people to do it. If we need $1 billion to do something, sell the idea to your people. Tell them, hey guys, this one, when you do it, you make millions in return. So I want you collectively come together, put your resources together, and then build this. Who is the owner of British Airways? Who is the owner of KLM? Who is the owner of Vodafone? Who is the owner of MTN? No, not a single person owning it. So it means that collectively, we need to raise capital and do big projects. Other than that, all the time, we'll be depending on foreign direct investors. Hey, guys, bring their money, but we don't know where they get their money from. It's collective investment. Okay? So collectively, this money, small money, that money, they put them together. They got the idea from the book of Genesis chapter 11, verse 1 to 6. It says, it came to a time some people came together, put their resources together to build the Tower of Babel. And God had to confuse them because the people were one. When you go to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 1 to 6, it says, cast your bread, and then in the future you have them. Okay? Cast your bread. And then make sure you do investment. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Right. Because you know what can happen. So you have to do diversification of what? Investment. And then some people say, hey, when I put more money in this, then if anything happens. Said, then you go to the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 14 downwards. It says, a man was traveling, and then he called 3 of his people, gave them talents. One was American, one was European, and then the other one was a typical Ghanaian. So
this is your addition, the American, European. And
so the American and then the European, they were able to invest whatever they were entrusted with. But the African, he said, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to create problems because I didn't want to take risks. In this world that we live in, it's all about risk taking. If you don't take risks, you can't do anything. So it comes to your DDEP or whatever.
I was even about to mention that you're quoting so many words from scripture. You're sounding more like our finance minister, Kenofoyata, this morning. I don't know whether you're taking a cue from him.
Oh, no. Because me, I use the Bible to do my stuff. I believe that you cannot make it in this world without the Bible.
Tell me, when you look at our economy, where we find ourselves currently, maybe before that, just so we don't have to come back to that issue. Smaller parties coming together. Isn't it the best option for you to counter the NDC and the MPP? All of you smaller parties coming together, whether the Nkrumahist parties, whether the liberal parties, coming together to pose a threat to them and maybe secure power. What do you think of that? And is that a possibility?
Even the mere announcement of that all smaller parties are coming together to contest the 2024 election will send a signal out there to ginger people to rally behind us. But the difficulty is that I tried this last year. The guys, why don't we come together? You know,
which parties did you speak to?
Oh, I spoke to all the smaller parties, even those that have been cancelled recently. I spoke to their leaders, and it's like they were not forthcoming. So then I said to myself, okay, I look at this smaller party, how many people are they? Maybe they are not. This one they are not. This one they are not. And what are we not doing that MPP and NDC are taking over this country? I realized that MPP is going for primaries, polling station, constituency, regional, then national. NDC likewise. And all the smaller parties, what are we doing? Then I realized that we are not serious. So I said, okay, if you can win an election, you need executives in every polling station. So we started going around. That's why I said, when you go up north, upper east, upper west, whatever, we've done all this. Every constituency, you have our executives. Now, we are doing it in Greater Accra. We will finish, by the end of March, we should finish all the 16 regions. So every region, you have our executives working. And when that is done, the people are the people who are going to man the polling station. The people who are going to campaign at the polling station. So, 2024 election, my brother, we are coming.
You're coming hard.
Serious.
What is your projection? What percentage of votes are you hoping to secure?
Oh, unfortunately, I cannot tell you the votes that I will secure. But the matter of...
I'm talking about hope, expectancy. What are you hoping to secure?
It's all about winning.
It's all about winning.
So far as...
So you believe you can get 50%?
So far as...
Over 50%?
No. It's not a matter of getting 50%. It's about getting at least 30% or 35% in the first round. So if I manage to get 35% and then I come second or first, second round automatic, I win.
You're saying it sounds so easy.
Oh, it's easy. It's not difficult. Don't let anybody...
The ordinary Ghanaian, you know that most demographics say that if you conducted an election on any day, at least about 40% of Ghanaians would vote for either the NDC or the MPP.
Yeah, yes.
Both ways.
Yes, because that's how it has been. But let me tell you, 2024 will not be that because we are working.
All right. Let's talk now about the economy, the domestic debt exchange program.
Yeah.
Recently, we've seen pensioners picketing at the finance ministry. We've seen individual bondholders talking about the fact that this is going to turn their fortunes around, basically destroy the economy. But this is also something we have to do to get our IMF program. What's your take on it?
Yeah, going to IMF will not solve our problems. It will compound the problems.
But no one said it would solve it, but it would give us some breathing space, won't it?
Yeah, for a while. For a while, then you come back. Because you're not producing anything in this country. So if you don't focus, if you don't dwell on producing what you consume, what you sell, if you don't produce that, forget it. We have a lot of talent in this country, young men and women who can play good football, those who can run, those who can do even dancing and can sing and the rest. What are we doing to help those people? Invest in those people so that they will come out. Invest in your young men and women. Let them come out with what they have. And then they will be able to pay back whatever loan that you borrow to invest in them. Some are architects, some are entrepreneurs, some are whatever. Support them. When you support your young people, and then your young people start doing something, adding value, doing great stuff, automatically the money will be coming.
Are you disappointed that we've ended up at the doorstep of the IMF one more time?
Oh, I'm not disappointed because I know definitely we were going to get there. So
you knew we were going to get there?
Oh, yeah, because from onset, that's what we'll be doing. So I know we're going to go there. You know, my brother, the truth, it's just simple. It's just simple. Produce and sell. If you produce this and you sell, you will determine your price. If you produce this and sell, you will determine your price.
We produce cocoa, we don't determine the price.
Yeah, because the cocoa, we don't know what we'll do with the cocoa. So if the one who is buying the cocoa tells you that he's not going to buy the cocoa, I mean, it will got wasted. So definitely you have to accept the price anyhow. But if you add value...
Though in recent times, we've had a bit of collaboration with the Ivory Coast to get better terms of trade.
They should add value. Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana should come together, or Ghana should take the lead and build massive or the world's largest chocolate manufacturing company right here in Ghana.
Is that something the LPG would?
Oh yes, it's in our manifesto.
Likely do.
Oh yes, we want to build the world's largest chocolate manufacturing right here in Ghana to add value, so that we don't. Even when we start to the white people, they say they won't buy the chocolate. We'll give to our children to eat.
Recently,
so when you go to school, you eat chocolate in the morning, in the afternoon.
And that's something we said at a point that we would do.
Yeah.
You know, this administration said it. And in recent times, the Information Minister, Kojo Ponkroma, has called on us to. But you look at the cost of cocoa products and chocolate and the rest, you see that it's easier said than done.
No, add value. Let your kids begin to eat them. Because I love young people, children who have never tasted chocolate before in this country. Let them eat in the morning, in the afternoon, let them drink. When they do it, it becomes like a habit. So when they grow, they'll grow with it. And then they will use their money to buy them every day. Because they will start enjoying the taste. You know, so my brother.
There are two. So one.
This is your domestic bond. I pity for those who have invested and they're having that difficulty.
You pity them.
Right? Yeah, I pity them. But the truth of the matter is that it's a condition subscribed by the IMF for the finance minister to be able to assess the $3 billion whatever. And the $3 billion, we are going to use it to pay part of our debt, you know, because that's what we are going to use them for. So I think everybody should, join forces with the government to come out from the wounds. Other than that, it will be difficult to govern this country. And so far as these bond holders, their monies are in cedis. They shouldn't worry too much because we don't spend money anywhere, cedis anywhere in this world apart from Ghana. So definitely, government is controlling the cedis. So definitely, when they get their dollars, they will come back and pay them their cedis. So they should relax. But some people have been saying that that's their only source of income. I don't buy that. Because how can your fund manager put all the eggs in one basket? So it means your fund manager is not competent. So that one, I don't want to hear that people saying that, oh, that is the only source of.
But you could have a chunk of it, especially when government is coming, you know, making offers to you, and you know that as far as you lend to government, it is risk-free. You cannot lose sight of that.
So
who doesn't like something that simple?
Yeah, but still, you have to divide them, portion them. You know, you can't put all in one basket. And
before we wrap, let's quickly do this. So. You seem to have won the admiration of one Limbio Awuda who says, I am voting for you. But I also have a message coming through on education, which was what I was going to wrap with. Education and the National Cathedral. But education, we seem to have quite a deficit in terms of infrastructure. Recently, we had Schools of Shame documentary. I don't know whether you saw it. What would an Akpalu government do in this regard?
Education? Oh, yeah. When it comes to infrastructure, it's something that bothers my heart. Because fortunately for me, I had my case outside this country because I was living outside, so I had my case there. And where they went to school, you could see the environment was fantastic. So when I come down here and I see case in this kind of infrastructure, even those in Kumasi or Accra, maybe they will take it like that. But when you go to the villages, like I went to Gushegu, there's a village in Gushegu, my brother, the kind of structure they are using for classes, one small room like this studio, and it serves the whole school. They have the JHS, they have the primary, class 1 to 6, and then kindergarten. They are all in that room. You see, in Ghana here. So it's something that we must invest, build proper school infrastructure for our people everywhere in this country.
And that's something the LPG will do. As we wrap the conversation, I'd just like to find out from you, the National Cathedral.
Oh,
the projects, the system is
my thinking
moving on with it.
My thinking is different when it comes to that.
What is your thinking?
maybe you may disagree with me, but I support it 100%.
Okay.
Because
do you support the use of taxpayers' money to put it up?
Oh, honestly, if not taxpayers' money, whose money are we going to use? It's definitely going to be taxpayers' money. I support it. The reason why I support it is that I look at the job that it will create. The job that it's creating. That is why I support that. Because whilst we are building, we have a lot of builders there. Macy's.
Do you know the companies that are involved? Rebade, the
no, I
three
don't.
entities, all from different countries, Italy and all of that have come to work on the construction.
To work on the construction. Fantastic. That is where we have a problem. That's where I will have a problem. Not those, because me, I'm looking at those who are going to work there. The plumbers, the Macy's, the electricians, and whatever.
We're spending about $400 million on that.
Oh, my brother, you need to find out why they are spending that. Because that place, I heard one pastor saying that, they have dug a hole and they spend a lot of money in the hole. They are using it as car park. So they are building the car park first. So, and when you want to build that kind of infrastructure, that kind of building, you need to make sure you invest in the foundation. Fantastic. And so, me, I don't have a problem. And even when they finish building, they will still use that place to, even if I'm lucky, and they finish before 7th of January 2025, I'll be sworn in there. So, to me, I don't have a problem. Because anytime we are conducting state barriers and the rest, we have to go to the car park at the Parliament House. So when it's raining, everything. So we can have places that we can conduct all these kind of services, government, blah, blah, blah programs. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with that one.
Kofi, thank you for coming, and we can only wish you the best in 2024. And maybe at some other point, we'll have the opportunity of interacting with you ahead of the elections to see how things are going. But thank you for joining the conversation.
I'm grateful for having me here.
And that is flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, Kofi Akpalu, who joined us for breakfast this morning. Do stay with us, because up next, there's a lot more coming your way on the AM show. You want to stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello there, very, very good morning to you. Thank you for making time to be a part of our show today. Just gone by, you heard my colleague Benjamin Akakpo speaking to the flag bearer during the 2020 elections of the LPG party, and they were discussing various issues. It's now time for us to talk about impact making, because here at JoyNews, we're all about making a difference, and we know that you, our discerning viewer, is also an impact maker. And that's why we've decided to set up an award scheme. And helping me to talk more about that is my own producer and project lead, Emefa Evanam Atiamwa Eli. Good morning, Emefa. It feels interesting doing this.
I know, right? I know, right? You're making me shy. Oh.
Don't be.
Anyway,
so just tell us what all this is about and how it was born.
Benis, you know, a number of times on this platform, particularly on JoyNews, we have done quite a lot of stories on people making a difference. This time, we want to take it a notch higher. We don't just want to tell the news. We don't want to tell you that there's an 18-year-old, there's a 20-year-old who is doing so amazingly in his or her community, giving hope to the hopeless, making things happen for people. We want to say that beyond we telling that story, we want to promote what you're doing. We want all of Ghana to be able to support you in a bigger way, so that who knows, if you get that kind of help, you will be able to impact more life. So that is what the JoyNews Impact Makers Awards is about. This time around, we are asking you to be the determiner of who is making the impact. Okay. So we are asking you to send in entries from your community. It shouldn't be anywhere far from you. Where you live, who is in that community, who is doing something extraordinary, the everyday person. You know, I'm not talking about the politician. I'm not talking about, like you and I.
Yes.
Yeah, the people in our neighborhood, the people in the community we chat with every day. What is it that they are doing, which is making life in your community better? Let us know. We have advertised an email, impact.makersawards@myjoyonline.com. Send in your entries. When you do that, you will get a form, a Google form, which you would have to fill in the details of the individual you are nominating. It will come to us, you submit it. When it comes to us, given the number of entries we have, we look at them, and then at the end of the day, we have a team of judges who will look at it and say, okay, we think that Mr. A or Madam B has done exceptionally well, and so let's honor this person, let's recognize this person as the JoyNews Impact Maker of the Year.
That's very interesting, and for me, like MFA said, it doesn't have to be a politician, it doesn't have to be somebody, you know, extra, you know, with a certain cloud around them. Just look out for sometimes the very simple things that you may have to think through and see, without this thing, without this person, this community would not be where it is. So what's the window for entries?
We are in February, so we are hoping that by the middle of March, we are closing the entries, where we do the sorting, and then we'll do the award scheme itself is in April. So as soon as possible, do not delay, send in your entry. And also we want to have a general representation of the country.
Great.
So please do not do more than one entry. Okay. Somebody will say, oh, I have so many people in my community who are doing wonderfully well, so I want to suggest all of them. That can't be. So if you have 5 people in your community, among the 5, who do you think should be? Yes. So yeah. I want to encourage people to do that. And when you send in your entry, do not repeat the process just once. It makes our work easy. Otherwise, you have the same person entering and entering and entering, and then we might even miss, at the end of the day, the person who deserves that recognition. So just do one entry. The moment you submit your form, it comes to us automatically, and then we'll take a look at it.
So if you just joined the program, we are talking about the JoyNews Impact Makers Award, and MFR is here to tell us exactly how you can participate, because this is all about you. We are leaving you to tell us who deserves that award in your community. So like she mentioned, there is an email
that has been advertised. It is impact.makersawards@myjoyonline.com.
impact.makersawards@myjoyonline.com. So please send your email to that address. You will receive a form, fill it out, and let us know why you think such a person deserves to be honored. So when we talk about honoring these people, what exactly do we mean?
We want to recognize you. I mean, we are a media house, and just as we have partnered quite a number of organizations that have done similar projects. Talk about the National Minds in Science Quiz, Schools Win, and then you get companies coming along, you know, who, for this one's, for the Impact Makers Awards, for instance, assuming we get somebody in terms of education, doing something extraordinarily in the area of education, we are trusting, and as you know, we do here.
Of course.
Definitely, we have the network in terms of the corporates Ghana who would want to be able to support this person to go far. So that's the idea. And we here as a media house, we're also giving you all our platform to promote everything you are doing. There is more in the package. It's not just that, but this is just the beginning. And I'm sure if you do your entry or you nominate the person, you'll be glad that you did. So do not hesitate. Do not hesitate.
Does this have to be the year just gone by, or if there's somebody who maybe over the years has been doing something and is still doing it, because we are saying it's the award for the year, should I be restricted if I'm looking in terms of when?
There isn't any form of restrictions at all. Just as the word says, it's impact. I can tell you somebody within minutes or weeks, days has made a lot of impact. Somebody too would have been doing this for years, and like you said, nobody has acknowledged, nobody has seen. But as a result of this program, we would be able to identify such a person. So it's not about the number of years, but the extent of the impact, the extent of difference, the number of people you are affecting as a result of the thing you are doing, the difference you're making. That is what we are going to look at.
This, I don't know about you, but this excites me in so many ways, because you know, in this country there are many people doing a lot of things, and MFR is also working on that project that you are helping us on as well, the classroom project.
Precisely.
And a lot of you have contributed, and we are so grateful. I cannot forget that grandmother.
Yeah, the 94-year-old Mrs. Ajakuju. Such people, you know.
Yeah.
And that woman, for instance, I think this is not the first time. She does that on a regular basis. Anytime Joy, for instance, we are out there calling for support, she would always extend a helping hand. And people like that, we want to adore them. We want to applaud them. We want to encourage them. If a 94-year-old is able to go and pick her monthly pension allowance or benefits, pick a taxi, come all the way to multimedia, and have the patience to look for the project lead and say, oh, this is just to support.
This is my widow's mite. Yeah.
How many people will do that?
Yeah.
You can understand. And so we want to encourage more of such. And no matter how little, but it's also the heart, okay, the thoughts that comes after all of these things. And talking about the classroom project, it's going to benefit not less than 700 school children, okay, in deprived community, 2 deprived communities. So you having this woman coming on board to contribute her widow's mite to be able to support these children. Who knows, one of these children at the end of the day might become the president of Ghana.
You're right.
You would be proud sitting back and saying, to say that, oh, I'm glad I contributed. I'm glad I did A, B, and C. So that is the whole motivation around this exercise.
So we are telling the story just so you understand that it doesn't have to be a gigantic project in a community. Look out for the people who are reaching out to the hearts, to the minds, to the soul of the community, and let us know who they are, and you know we will reward them. MFR, any parting words you'd like to?
Yes, so like I said, the entries, we need the entries as soon as possible. You shouldn't delay. Do your entries now, and remember, just make one entry, just one entry, so we'll be able to have a general representation of the country. And it is not restricted to any specific area. It cuts across every sphere of life. Maybe the person you want to nominate might be working in the area of health. That person qualifies to participate in this award scheme. Maybe you are considering somebody working in the area of sanitation, in the area of caregiving, giving people hope, you know. A lot of people are going through a lot of mental kind of, how would I say, stress conditions, and they don't have anybody to speak to. But there are people in the community who are able to give that kind of warm space, listen to them, just to make sure that they do not go out of hand. They are controlled, and they are able to overcome their situation and become who they are. We want to celebrate such people. Some feel so dejected. Nobody is there for them, you know, and it's not everybody who is able to do that. One of our colleagues in the office made a joke the last time. I was encouraging her to extend, to hug somebody who she thinks is having any form of mental illness or mental challenge. And she was like, what if the person throws a stone or hits me with something? So it's all about the approach. Of course, I don't expect you to go and hug, excuse me to say, somebody
who's
aggressive.
But there are some of them that are more emotional.
People, exactly. Right. You might be talking about somebody who is working in the area of energy. I keep mentioning a story this guy brought.
Samuel Kojo.
Exactly. Yeah. It's fantastic. How many of such people do we have around? And you can imagine a whole community just having to enjoy electricity. I can imagine the school children in that community who need light to read or to learn at night. But because of lack of electricity, in the community, they are not able to do that. But this boy is changing the narrative. Right. He's giving these children the opportunity to be able to stay and learn after school hours, to be able to learn. And so what about the businesses in the community that also need light? You understand me? So you realize that the impact is not just...
It's not restricted
to
any...
It's cut across and everybody gets to benefit. Those are the people who want to celebrate. So don't hesitate. Quickly,
please.
Impact. What's the name again? Send your entries to this thing on your TVs. impact.makersawards@myjoyonline.com, and we'll do justice to it for you.
All right, MFA Ebenam Atiamwa Eli telling us about this next project that we're working on to help us celebrate people making a difference. No boundaries, no limits. Nominate anybody who's making any kind of impact. And you know, here at JoyNews, we know how to celebrate good things, so we will celebrate them. Well, up next, Adon TV comes your way with another exciting edition of Nsroma Plus. It was the grand finale of the current season at the Fantasy Dome. Who will win the prize? Details after this break. Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. It's now time to talk about Nsroma Plus. The grand finale is in the offing. Kobi Shen, channel coordinator of Adon TV, joins me in the studio. Hi.
Hello.
It's been a while.
Yes.
What's your name?
Nyamenadum, what was it?
Oh, Nyamenadum.
Why if you want to pay?
Oh, my dad, yeah, my small fancy's coming out of the closet. Anyway, tell us about Nsroma Plus.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And I want to say hello to the viewers. Thanks for making Adon TV #1.
And he had to say that on JoyNews. Interesting. Yes. Don't worry, our sister stations is fine. We can share the glory.
Yes. they should keep watching JoyNews, but watch on Adon TV.
Sure.
Okay. Nsroma Plus is more like an add-on of Nsroma itself. Nsroma is a kids TV music reality show that we started some few years ago, somewhere 2017, and then it's been growing from time to time. Since then, it doesn't go down. Everybody testifies to it that it goes up and up and up. So at a point, we got to see that we have produced some of these children in the system. What are we doing to them? Because some of them are doing well. Some of them are making waves outside there, but a lot of them are quiet, and we know that they are good. They can do something. So we said, why don't you go back to them, season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, select the best out of them and then put them together and see what they can do.
So just like champions of champions, splash
more
of
like
titles.
that, more like that. But we don't want to call it like that because these children, they don't like competition.
Yeah.
But we called it Nsroma Plus. I mean, it's an add-on to the normal Nsroma that we do. So that's how come we have Nsroma Plus.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have been watching. I've been seeing what's been happening. They're all grown up now. Some of them, I remember seeing them when they came for their seasons, looking so little. Yeah. Now they've all grown, you know, matured and all that. What are we expecting for the grand finale and when is it happening?
Okay, the grand finale is on the 19th of this February.
Okay.
And then we're having it at the Fantasy Dome. For obvious reasons, we are doing that Fantasy Dome. And we have a lot of surprises under our sleeves. Be ready for us. These children will treat you to music that you've never heard for years. I mean, that's what they've been doing. I must say that's what they do best.
Yeah.
They throw the crowd with the kind of music that they do. Music that came out when their mothers had not met their fathers.
Yeah.
And they sing
especially
it
when it gets to the high life edition.
Yeah.
So it's surprising sometimes the kind of, not the way they sing the song, but how they can even interpret and live the music.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
It's amazing. I will urge everybody to get ready for them because they have wonderful things for them. Because this time around, they will have more than one performance from each of them. Double performances. I mean, we have surprises too coming in because they'll be doing things that I've never done before, and we don't want to spill it here now.
Yeah. So how do we become a part of the program? Are the tickets selling? How do we participate?
Fortunately, we're not selling tickets. We're not selling tickets for free.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we do. Nkrumah is for free.
Okay.
We want everybody to come to the venue and witness something they've never witnessed before. Just come to the Fantasy Dome. We are starting by 7 p.m. We are on air. Yeah. Usually, Nkrumah is from 4 p.m. to 6, but this time around, because it's the finale, we are starting at 7 o'clock in the evening, and then till we finish.
All right. So you can just come support any of the contestants. How many of them?
We have 7 now.
For the grand finale?
May I, if I should mention
Of course, please.
We have Gamado Somoa Isaac. We have Renee Abuaje. We have Victor Chuma Ampofo. We have Grace Adom Sarkodie. We have Precious Ember. We have Daniel Entry. And then we have one more that I forgot.
It's understandable.
Yeah. We have all of them performing. I mean, they were all good in their seasons. They are all very good. Some of them were winners. Victor Chuma Ampofo, for instance, was a winner of second edition.
Did Gideon participate?
Gideon couldn't come this time around because of some of them are in school and they are in
high school.
They are in high. Almost all of them are in high school, with the exception of about 2. But most of them are final year students who can't risk their time to come here school. So that's how come we don't have some of them in there.
But it's good. It's an interesting concept just to help young children unearth their talent in music, get guidance, get some form of coaching. So please join us as we celebrate.
The last person I didn't mention was Truth Ofori.
Okay.
Please, I have to mention it before I leave here. Truth Ofori.
Truth Ofori.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. He had to do some brain searching there to find the name, but that's it. So please join us at the Fantasy Dome on the 19th of February. It starts at 7 p.m. Come and support these children. And we are open to support as well, right?
Yes, of course, you can.
In helping young children who are musically inclined, then please reach out to Kobe Eshen, channel coordinator, Adon TV, and let's see how we can help them make their dream a reality. Thank you so much, Kobe, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're grateful, and we will be there on the 19th of February. Water is life. Awake is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect sizes for all purposes, 330 ml and 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags, 750 ml for the heavy drinkers, and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. And 19-liter jar bottles are ideal for homes and offices. All you must do now is drink Awake purified drinking water wherever you go. Choose a bottle of Awake purified drinking water today and get quality hydration. Awake purified drinking water, one for life. Remember, for every bottle you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center, another quality product by Casapreco Company Limited. Here's how to get bulk purchases or make bulk purchases. Please call 0262351251. This advert is FDA approved. Well, we'll take a quick breather now. When we come back, we get interactive with you. It's been an interesting week talking about the domestic debt exchange program, pensioners picketing the finance ministry. We know that there's an extension due to some technical issues. So technically, the deadline is today. What are your concerns? Are you a pensioner? Do you have anything to share with us? Are you still worried about government's posturing or what government is offering you in this stance? This week, we've also been discussing a couple other issues. Bawku, for example, we are hearing some disturbing news again from the area. Are you satisfied with how the situation has been handled so far? We'll be taking all your thoughts and comments right after this. Do stay. Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. Benjamin Akakpo has joined me. It's now time to get interactive with you.
It's good to be here.
Benjamin. Good to have you as well. Once you see us together like this, it means that we are waiting to hear what your thoughts are. So call us on 0302-211-691, 0302-211-691. Share your thoughts with us. That conversation with Mr. Akpalu is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting conversation there. The age-old question about whether we have a third force and whether that force is strong enough to make a difference. We've heard from some of you who call us talk about how you are tired of this dual play between the NDC and the MPP alternating and all that. Every 8 years, you say you want a difference, but do you find that difference? Is it available? Or are we even willing as a people to explore?
You know, when he spoke, when I posed the question to him and he made mention of the fact that he had even tried engaging other political parties and there was a bit of a pushback. Yeah. I think that is one of the most viable ways of doing it. Band together as all the small parties. I feel if they did that, they would, people who are tired of the duopoly would want to think, you know what? Let's give these people the opportunity. And that would be the start of it. But until they do that, I doubt any one of them would be able to make the sort of inroads that could topple, you know, the duopoly. I seriously doubt.
And the other thing is that is it that we are not willing to take the risk as a people, or we haven't been given enough reason to go for a certain third force, or people just seem to think that you must be a president, or to be a president, you must identify with either the NDC or the MPP?
It could be both of those things. And interestingly, Akpalu himself talks about the fact that we don't take enough risk in governance. But of course, you must also measure your risks. So we'll see how it goes with the 2024 elections and these smaller political parties. But we have a call on the line.
Yes, we do. Hello, good morning to you. Let's hear you. Akonoba from Kumasi.
Yeah, many thanks, Benjamin. How are you?
You're doing well.
Benny, I saw your document, Baby Doctor, right? I think it's a very good program. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody should try and make sure they ascribe to it. And I want to urge your producers to give us a shot of some of it on Facebook so that some of us can learn something. It's a good program. You see, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Honorable, let me say Honorable Akpalu, they really said about him and his party, the better. You see, they are calling for a third force. But most of these third forces are hypocrites. I'm telling you, it's either they are pro-NDC or pro-NPP. It is the truth.
I posed that question to him. Ordinarily, we wouldn't, interject. But I posed that question to him, and he says that is not the case.
Okay, if that is not the case, what has been his action from 2017, political action 2017 to now, and this has been his political action during the time of President Mahama? Akpalu, you are in this country, an 80-year-old bondholder says that in the middle of this year, he can do dialysis. As Akpalu and his party make a public statement cautioning President Akufo-Addo and Colonel Furata that you have to exempt these old veterans from the death estate. As Akpalu done that, has he done that, my brother? You see, you're asking who you are. When Colonel Furata was borrowing, what did Akpalu say? What did he and his party say? He was quiet. I don't want to allege anything. But people are alleging that because he is pro-NPP, he is allegedly or enjoying some contract. Other than that, Akpalu that I know is vociferous. Why is he quiet now? You see, they should spare this. We are not small boys, my brother. Okay? So your actions prove what you do. I'm telling you, in Ghana, there is no third force. It is either NPP or NPP or maybe then you are a man of integrity. maybe God might raise you for you to stand for presidential, for the president. Then some of us can vote for you. Because I know some of you, when you say this, the same thing that you do. But as for Akwalu and other parties, my brother, oh boy.
Thank you, Akonoba, for sharing your thoughts.
We appreciate your thoughts. We'll have to take other callers now. Benjamin, I think another interesting point of your conversation with him was when he spoke about a certain organization he's affiliated to and how they support his party. And when you were asking for what kind of support, he said he couldn't mention, but I found that quite curious. I mean, what
as did I.
What is it that you cannot share? What kind of support would you want to be sending?
Yet he said it wasn't monetary, but it wasn't support he wanted to make mention of. And I told him, as we're discussing here, that those are some of the concerns that people like us have. And those are the things we ought to be rooting out, because if you can't even tell who is doing what for which political party, then can we even tell when we're being sold out for whatever reason?
Reminds me of the conversation about political party financing and how we need to, as a people, come clean about some of these things. Well, Emmanuel is joining the program from Accra. Good morning. Let's hear you.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing well. Thanks for asking.
Good. I usually call, but nowadays I'm not able to do that so much. I wouldn't want to go into the reasons, but I think that one problem we are facing as a nation is that it's a section plan. Okay, it's like everybody knows the solution, but everybody wants to be there to lead. But when they get it, there's a problem. I believe maybe it won't be our generation, probably, but we can put in place some systems, some measures, so that the younger ones can be trained to know what it means to be a president, what it means to be an MP, what it means to be a leader. Then from there, I believe we can have some kind of successes. Apart from that, I believe it will be difficult for us to just have, like the interview you had today with Akwalu. I believe he's also thinking he can do something. He can say he will win and all that. But at the end of the day, we all know what the story will turn out to be. We need something that will help us to let the youth learn how it is to be in leadership. And then when they are there, they can do things better. It may not be a generation, but it will get better if we are able to do that. That's my submission. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for sharing your thoughts with us.
And he does make a point, doesn't he? He does. Well, we can take a few more calls, 0302-211-691. What are your thoughts that you'd like to share with us this morning? And there's also the Nkrumah bit, another season coming up. In fact, the finale, gearing up for that.
Well,
we have another caller?
Yeah. Let's head to Brekum. Richard is joining us from the area. Good morning. Let's hear you, Richard.
Good morning. And good morning to all your viewers. I would rather, I don't know what I talk about, but I want to concentrate on the scene Honorable Haruna Iddrisu created in Parliament yesterday. I think that his aspersions and some of the things he says are not helping the NDC party, especially because there are tons of issues to discuss in the country. But his actions yesterday in Parliament shifted attention from the real issues to what he did yesterday. I think that as a party, the NDC is a mass party. And so some of these decisions will come sometimes. So now he was talking about the fact that Honorable Collins Elder is an elder in terms of age and in Parliament and all that. Yet when he was appointed as the minority leader, Honorable Collins Elder, Rikupuku and those people were all there. They were elderly then. Yet he was made a leader. So sometimes we should just accept some of the decisions and then move on. If they drag issues like that, it will put the NDC out as not a party serious to be in government. And I think that the earlier the party addresses that issue, the better.
Thank you.
For the honorable.
Hello, Richard. Oh, too bad. We lost him there. He was just.
I think he was about to make an add-up point.
Yeah, but
but interesting scenes, right? We got from Parliament with the minority leader.
Yes, but then again, it's interesting also because I mean, he said Richard just says, well, when you were made the leader, blah blah blah, but the leader has a specific chair, right? Which is
and that's the point to be made, right?
Yes. But in this case, because he is no longer leader, he's been asked to take over someone else's seat. And he says, I can't do that for these reasons. Okay, so...
But could it have been handled differently? That is the issue at hand.
Possibly. Well, Hamid is calling us. Hello, Hamid, let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Ahmed Bashiru. I'm calling from Tamale.
Right, Ahmed.
Yeah, I want to talk on the Bawku issue.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Honestly, what is happening in Bawku is the cause of these politicians. They are the very people who are influencing this conflict. And this debate of all the time, there is Supreme Court, there is no Supreme Court, is the cause of these politicians. And yesterday, our MP was on upfront, claiming that there is a Supreme Court ruling. I am telling you for a fact, there has never been any Supreme Court ruling that says that the current Bawku Naba is the Bawku Naba. I am telling you. We also have documents to prove. And that is the misinterpretation that everybody's given onto this thing. And that is what is fueling the conflict.
Ahmed, when you say we, it suggests to me that you belong to a faction in the conflict, right?
Yes.
Okay. But, I mean, you're saying one thing, he's saying the other. Your interpretation of the Supreme Court ruling is not what his interpretation is. So why not go back to court to rectify it then? Why do we need to kill innocent people?
We are not. Look, our search at the Supreme Court reveals there is nothing like that. We are telling you, there's nothing, but they are trying to push it down the throat of others. And that is what is causing this conflict. If they believe that there is a ruling, they should go back to the court and let the court enforce it. It's just like me and you. We are fighting over a piece of land. And then the court rule in your favor. And the other part, I'm not trying to understand. What are you supposed to do? You the one who the court has ruled in your favor. Go back to the court, sack me for contempt, and let the court deal with me. Why can't they go back and enforce the ruling? And then they've left it in the hands of politicians, and then they are toying with people's life. I hope you get what I'm saying. You said they have ruled in your favor, and then the other party is not trying to obey. What are you supposed to do as an educated person? Don't you have lawyers? Go back to the same court. Tell the court that you've ruled for me, but the other party is refusing to understand. The court should cite us for contempt, and we are ever ready. I hope I'm making sense.
Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. But what we hope for is that the two parties will sit down, have a conversation together with all stakeholders on how to move on from here, because the back and forth appears to...
It's not helping much, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
It's just one of those, it's becoming intractable where I will say this, and if you say this, I'll counter it with that, and if I say that, you'll counter mine with this and that. It reminds me of a bit of a chieftaincy come land dispute that took some 96 years to resolve. Recently, it was in one of the papers that I saw, and a lecturer cited it as well. I mean, why should it take so long? And some of these conflicts, it just takes a little bit of, but sometimes we fail to look at the undercurrents, the things that caused it initially, and solving it from there. Because a lot of the time,
and we carry... still linger. And also...
Generations carry on the thing without even...
understanding it. And also the thing is how the conflict may have grown beyond its initial dynamics, you know, to new add-ons and so many things. It's quite an intricate problem, and we just pray and hope that things will be done in Bawku. We have our last caller, Wisdom. Hello, Wisdom. Let's hear you.
Wisdom, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. I want to speak on off-air.
You want to?
Speak on off-air.
Okay, so hold.
So our producers will speak.
Hold and speak to our producer then.
Yes.
Just hold the line.
Sure. So I think that will be it for our interactive segment today. And thank you all so much for making time to join us. We really appreciate your company every week, every day, and every hour of our show. And I must just say this, Benjamin, that we came into this week with unfortunate news about what happened in Turkey.
Yeah.
The death toll has risen to 20,000.
Yeah.
We had
it was 17,000 thereabouts yesterday. Now between Syria and Turkey, 20,000 people have lost their lives.
And we are still praying for Christian Atru, who we received some good news about later. We were told it was a mistaken identity and all that. But we've just got our fingers crossed. Hopefully next week or even by the end of today, we should hear some good news about him. So let's keep hope alive.
We pray for that. But someone else we're praying for today, Corey Elijah. He's a medical doctor at the Nyaho Hospital. Fantastic personality. Today's your birthday. Happy birthday, Elijah Cole. And God bless you.
God bless you and give you the strength to continue saving lives. We appreciate your work that you do for your patients. Well, it's goodbye from us now. Do take care, stay safe, enjoy your weekend, but please don't drink and drive. We're back on Monday with another exciting edition for you. We'll leave you with News Desk.